Yo, it's your boy DZ, man. You already know it's not about the setback, it's about the get back. Diddy's trying to get that bail today. And we gonna see if he get that bail. We gonna see if Diddy get that bail today. It's gonna be hard, but you know that's his life, and he can't give up on his fight, man. In this situation, they might not give him a bail, being as though it's so much against him, and you know they think he's gonna be a flight risk and his influence. But like anybody else, you deserve a fair trial, and that's where I'm at with it. No matter what we think about him, no matter who don't like him, everybody deserves a fair trial, man, and that's real. And you see how all the reporters are out there, they waiting. They want to get that story. Life is about money, man. Business. That's it. And we gonna sit here and see what's going on, man. Let me see here. Yeah, y'all can call in today too. If y'all want to call in, you can call in and let me know what you feel about this situation with Diddy. Do you feel Diddy is guilty, not guilty? Do you feel Diddy is going to get off? You know, some people say President Trump is going to pardon him. I don't think Trump will put his hand in that right now. It's too much going on. Me being honest. Not right now. Maybe later. We don't know if he gets convicted, but yeah. And they got this Sprinter van out here. I guess it's either Diddy's lawyers in there or it's Diddy.
Can you tighten that up? Thanks a lot. No, you're good. You're good.
When you at the top of the food chain, man, people celebrate your downfall. Trust me. They celebrate you going up and they celebrate you coming down, man. Just a couple months ago, last year, Diddy got the key to the city. He got the key to the city that he's in right now locked up, fighting for his life. The same thing that make you laugh can make you cry. And we gotta be honest. The people that celebrate you going up, they'll celebrate you going down. And you know, a lot of people that get in these positions, celebrities, they really think that people love them. Because somebody is pumping their fist for you, telling you, hey, you go, go, go. Now, you got to understand that people only love you when everybody else love you. When everybody turn against you, you the villain. And that's what Diddy is now. He's the villain. For sure. Okay, they didn't open the sprinter up. They didn't open the sprinter up. They opened the sprinter up. Okay, this is family right here. It's the kids, the mom. It's the family right here, man. And one thing I can say though, his family is still supporting him. I can say that. Through all this here, his family is still supporting him, man. You know, a lot of times, people who have so much envy towards their family, they'll go against him in these situations.
Feeling confident going into today's hearing?
And this is their dad. That is their son. I'm glad they ain't let nobody influence them to go against them, though. No matter what he's going through, no matter what people think, they didn't allow people to influence them to go against him. They sending out cease and desist letters. They still fighting. Yo, that's my dad. And you gotta respect that. That's my dad. I'm riding with him regardless. And people think that they supposed to turn on him. This game get dirty, man. And I don't think this hearing gonna be that long, honestly. They ain't allowing no cameras in the courtroom at all. They not allowing it, so everything is from the outside. And they doing old school. They drawing pictures and writing everything down in there. Ain't no cameras allowed at all. That's how they doing it. But I'm saying Diddy do got a shot today, though. We don't know what the judge is thinking, because honestly, we have to be real. The judges make decisions off of their emotions, the way they feel about something. So, of course, they use the law and the guidelines to make the decision, but they go off their emotions when they make the decision. How they feel about you. Do they feel that you really did this? Do they feel that it was outrageous what you did? And we have to be real. They're not just going by the guideline. Their emotions attached to some of this stuff, because they have people that might experience the same situation, and we don't know if that took effect to their decision. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that experience these type of things in their life, and they got family members that are in law enforcement that are attorneys, judges. And when you come across them, they sure do think about this. That's like if they had a child that OD'd and you came in front of them with a case with the same type of stuff that the child OD'd off of, don't you think that the judge would take that and say, I'm going to hold it on you a little more? Not telling you, but want to hold it on you a little more because their child was affected from what you're into. And we got to be real. We can say no, but the truth is the truth. They make a decision off of their emotions. Big facts. Yeah, straight big facts. Yeah, so today is the day though. I think this is his last chance too. It's the last chance. And I'm sure them lawyers probably charge him like $50,000 each time. When they know you got money, they hold it on you for representation. So they probably charged him up $50,000. And Diddy got to spend all this money on these lawyers. And it might not go the way he want. At this point, you know, your life is in the lawyer's hands, honestly. You got to hope you got a good team that's willing to go to war and fight for you. Because at this point, your life is in them people's hands, man. You can't get upset at your lawyer right now. You can't get cocky with your lawyer right now. You just got to try to focus and hope that your lawyer is focused. And do your own research. If you in jail and you got an attorney, you better be studying, even on the street. Because you know some people that get an attorney and they think that the attorney is supposed to do everything and you don't do anything. And what I say to that, right? Why would somebody else care about your life more than you do? If you show the attorney that you care about your life, even if they trying to screw you over, it's not going to work for them because you're putting that effort to show them that you care about your life. And you know, it's Jews that think that, oh, I paid this attorney $5,000 or $10,000, and no matter what, he gonna fight the case. He gonna be there and he gonna do what he need to do. Well, he's not gonna put that effort in as if it was you, because it's not him. He's gonna do bare minimum. He's gonna make sure that, yeah, I fight and I know the procedures and the law, but if it don't work, it don't work. Oh well, I go home. So I be trying to tell jokers all the time, make sure you do your own research. Make sure you fight your case. If you expecting somebody else to care about you more than you care about yourself, you already lost. And that's just real rap. Don't ever expect someone else to care about you more than you do. Don't know who came up with that, saying somebody else should care about you more and all that. No, you better care about yourself and make sure you focus on your situation at hand. In this situation here, Diddy is like life on the line, so he better be studying. And you ain't got nothing but time though. So Diddy ain't got nothing but time in this situation, man. One of those situations where bro better put effort into himself. Nobody cares about you like you do. You know? And I'm sure he sees that now. I'm sure he's happy that his kids is there for him and his mom is holding it down. You know? But we don't know. They can get broke too. Like, they can be broken. You know? But right now they holding up. But we don't know if somebody wants to swoop in and break them down and get them to flip on Diddy because they found something on them. We don't know that. But at this current moment, they riding with him. And I'm sure he's thankful for that because everybody else done turned against him. All those millionaire buddies he had that was riding with him, ain't nobody supporting him. They like, he got money. He don't need us. And we not trying to get involved with what he got going on. I wish people would start thinking about that when they running around out here. You need to understand that the people you running around with are not going to be there for you in these situations. The people you think that really love you and care for you, they're going to be ghosts. They're going to be ghosts in this situation. This is all about you. So when you out in the world, you need to make sure that it's all about you. I don't know how we got caught up in that, thinking that we supposed to put other people before us and you got to do this to get your blessings. And well, when you in a bad situation, them blessings be gone. Nobody wants to associate with you. You know what I'm saying? When you in that bad situation. And we gonna see though, because Diddy does have a chance to get bail today. And who knows, man? It could go in his favor, man. And you know, it's a lot of the world wishing he don't get bail. Man, he don't need no bail. He should be locked up. There's a lot of people wishing he don't get out. I feel anybody deserves a fair due process. So it's up to the judge. It's the judge's decision. Even though we already know the judge is going to make this decision off of an emotion. The judge is not going to make this decision off of the legal statute. It's going to be emotion. Do I feel Diddy is going to do this? Do I feel? Because honestly, he should have the opportunity to get bail. If he violates, then lock him up. Like, come on, man. He deserves to get bail. Fight for his case, man. And if you ever been in a situation where they revoked your bail and told you you had no bail, you would understand me. But if you haven't been in that situation where they revoked your bail and told you no bail, like, come on, man. And then you watch other people that might have the same type of charge get a bail, like, that's a different feeling. I had a bail one time. I got all the way to the desk to get bailed out. And you know what they said? They revoked it. Boom. I'm like, hold up. Why can't I get a bail? They said they don't give bail for first degree murder. I'm like, what? Come on. I didn't do it. But this is how things go. You understand what I'm saying? They don't give bail. And you like, man, well, what about that guy that got a bail? Nah, that's you. You don't get no bail. And when they say no bail, it's no bail, man. Diddy just got some paid expensive lawyers that know how to put that paperwork in to get it back. Because this is a third time he's trying to get a bail. They denied it twice. Then they found the documents that he was writing to his lawyer in his cell. And the documents might have had some information about some of the witnesses, I guess, that he wanted to contact, right? But we see, though, the victim's lawyer, they're on his ass. Let's be real about that. The victims, their lawyer, they on his ass. Because he's sending out those letters and he's contacting these people telling them, settle or else we're going to put your name out there. You hear me? That's what they doing. They saying settle or we're going to put your name out there. So they feel like it's some form of extortion on some real stuff. And I would say that, like, go through your process. Don't try to contact me and tell me you're going to put my name out there. If you're going to put my name out there, I'm going to just sue you when you know it, if you don't know it's true. So play the game. But this guy, you know, he's been doing it for so long and everybody's coming to him and he has a group of women on his team. It's like, I could think I could do what I want. Not really. Not really. Do y'all think they gonna give Diddy a bail, man? Let me know, man. Honestly, do y'all think he gonna get a bail? Or is the judge gonna say, sir, not today? You gotta sit until trial. And they got his trial scheduled for May, right? They ain't got no motions in or nothing yet, right? The trial ain't gonna happen in May, man. The trial is not gonna happen in May. I think maybe probably before a year, they might have a trial so that they don't violate his speedy trial rights, having a trial within the 365 days. So that's just my opinion. He only has to put up 10%. Yeah, I'm saying, do you think he's going to get the bail, though? Michael, do you think he's going to get the bail, brother? Because he just getting there for the hearing. His family just went in there, so he didn't have the hearing yet. But we ready to find out if he going to get this bail. You said no, huh? Yeah. I don't think so either. Because there's too many people that's accusing him of something. Because of the legal pad. Oh, because he wrote the note to his lawyer and they found it, and I guess it was some damage and stuff on there. And the phone calls. Yeah. I would agree too. That's why I don't think he's going to get no bail. Even though the judge said that they can't use it against him in the trial, I don't think he's going to be able to get no bail. Because there's so much stuff that they're saying he tampered with the witnesses, and it's just too much, and there's a lot of witnesses. So they want to make the victims feel comfortable, and in a situation like this, the victims feel comfortable when the person's incarcerated. For real. A line about the legal pad. Yeah. If he knew it was something wrong on there, he already know they was gonna be on him. He wrote legal on the pad after the cops took pictures. Oh, okay. So he tried that. Ooh, that was a good one though. That was quick thinking. So now they can't use it against him in the case. Yeah, that was super quick thinking. I would have thought like it didn't go like that, but damn, for you saying that. You said you want him indicted for murder, Tupac, Kim, Britney, Biggie, and Aaliyah. Whoa, damn. So you saying they got that much on him that they think he did that to all them people? Sheesh. That's heavy. Hey, listen. That might be the bigger picture, though, why they holding it on him for these other situations. They might not really got a lot of evidence on him on that type of murder stuff, but they got more evidence on him on this situation, so they want to make sure that they hold it on him. So that could be a reason they trying to like really, really hold it on him. Yeah. Real rap. When you think about it, because they are putting the pressure on this situation from that Cassie video. And he was wrong for the Cassie video. You know, he was wrong for putting his hands on her the way he did. But only thing I said about that video, right, is they manipulated it. They didn't play the whole video. And that there, when the prosecutors do things like that, it really cringes me. He canceled Biggie's flight. He canceled Biggie's flight? Oh, I ain't even know that. So it made him be able to follow him and get right on their tail in that situation. I didn't know that. But I was saying, though, with the altering of the videos and stuff, man, I really feel that the prosecution shouldn't be allowed to do that, man. You know, I experienced that before, where them altering the video, and luckily I caught it. You know, so when I caught it, it gave me a chance to fight. I'm like, hold on, they edited, they did something with the video. This ain't the original video, and they do things like that to make a situation look the way they want it to look. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so he can keep him in L.A. Yeah, and listen, you gotta watch the people around you. I'm gonna be honest with that. That's the main people you gotta watch. You have to watch the people around you. Biggie planned on, I guess, leaving Bad Boy, they said. And I guess he ain't want him to leave. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, show the whole, they only left parts out. Yeah, it's like, I feel that they should show the whole video and stop editing when they trying to make things look a certain way. And that's what the prosecutions do. They edit the video to try to make it look to their liking, but they not showing the whole situation so that we can see and we can make our own judgment. You know what I'm saying? You said I'm not black, and I ain't asked you if you was black, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at it like that. Yeah, somebody said about you black, because I ain't asked you generation after generation. Yeah. It get crazy though with these industries folks, because they puppets, man. So we don't really know the slick stuff they do because we not around them, but they real fishy, and we see that they real fishy, man. Oh, okay, yeah, I ain't see that one, bro. Yeah, I ain't see that one, bro. Yeah, man. Let me see. Hold up. They must have stopped it. Hold up. What they talking about? They must have stopped it on there. They must gonna come back to it because Diddy is in there now. Process about to start, so they probably gonna jump back on it. Being honest.
Federal racketeering, prostitution charges. He's going to be back in court today because he and his defense counsel will be arguing for bail once again. Now, to be clear, this was already denied multiple times by other judges, okay? But this is the first time the current judge overseeing this case, Judge Arun Subramanian, will be hearing this issue, deciding this issue. And we're going to be hearing competing testimonies, competing narratives, I should say, about whether or not Sean Combs should be released before trial. So Combs, one argument will be allegedly reaching out to witnesses and victims, including behind bars, that he put forward an attractive, expansive bail package, $50 million, home confinement, 24/7 monitoring by private security. Prosecutors will say that.
He said, I think if they say 50 million bond, 5 million to get out.
Prosecutors say that he is a danger because of past
I don't think so.
alleged violent
I ain't gonna lie.
And you know they're going to be highlighting the 2016 video of him purportedly beating his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura at a hotel hallway. That
Yeah.
will most likely come up. I will say one particular area that will definitely come up is how this case is distinguished from the Mike Jeffries case. This is the former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO who was recently arrested and charged with sex trafficking in New York, but he was released on a $10 million bond. Judge Subramanian said to the prosecutors earlier this week, be prepared to explain the differences between that case and Combs. So what we're going to be doing, and you see this live shot of the courthouse right now. Of course, there are no cameras in that courtroom,
y'all hear that?
unfortunately, but we are going to be providing you live updates.
You
about
hear
what's
that?
happening in that courtroom. Long Crimes Elizabeth Milner is in that courtroom. She's going to be coming out later to do a live shot for us as well about what she saw and what she heard. And we are also going to be taking your questions about the case, about the hearing. So make sure
y'all hear that?
up on YouTube. Now, before I get into this, before I bring on my guests,
Do y'all hear that though?
Announcement for you. Little thing, some would say.
That was deep.
It's fine. I feel fine about it.
Now I gotta say this, right? Diddy might get a chance at the bail when he just said that. Because now the prosecutors, they have to explain why the Abercrombie & Fitch guy got a $10 million bail package and he has the same type of situation Diddy has, but he got bail. And they saying no bail for Diddy. So for the judge telling the prosecution, be prepared to explain that, that might be a good thing for Diddy. I'm not even gonna hold you.
I have a very special announcement. So if you're interested, so Elizabeth Vulai, not here to make sure that we're not in trouble. We never get in
It's
trouble,
deep.
right? No, but she's been
Amber Common and Fish not messing with witnesses. That's the difference. But I really think the Amber Common and Fish dude did tamper with a witness. I think so. I don't know if it was multiple witnesses, but I really think they said that he did tamper with a witness. You said no, it's not the same. That we gonna see though. So because they're saying being able to, for the judge to say be able to explain this, the judge must know something too. And I think if I'm not certain, the Amber Common Fish dude had a situation where it was a witness situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was multiple witnesses, but it was a situation with a witness. I'm not mistaken. I think so. And that's why the judge is saying be able to explain this. Yeah. So we definitely gonna see that one.
Nima Rahmani, thank you so much. He's a former.
In my opinion, two very different cases. And you know what? People lie, defense attorneys lie, defendants lie all the time, but video doesn't lie. And I think if Onion looks at that video that CNN got in May from that 2016 beating, less than a mile from where I'm sitting right now, that is not someone that is going to be safe if released. He's a danger to the future.
Defense would say that's 8.5 years ago. Should that be definitive proof that he's a danger to others?
Y'all think that that should be held as weight to him not getting bail because of something that happened 8 years ago that they're using now to spark the public?
Speak with Sean Diddy Combs supporters. So apparently there might be supporters in that courtroom. We'll get a better understanding when.
Definitely deserves bail if it's the same, man.
And Alexandra Shapiro, who is another
For
one
real.
of Combs' defense attorneys, is sitting reading from a binder in that courtroom. 4 prosecutors are in the front row. Sean Combs has been brought in. He is wearing the MDC.
Okay, they brought him in there though now. So it's on.
In kind of these courtroom sketches, and he has hugged his lawyer Mark Agnifilo, and then sits chatting with his other attorney, Mr. Rico. Okay, so Elizabeth, let me go to you about this.
It's the game, man.
The government has said with Mike Jeffries,
Sheesh.
he wasn't charged with racketeering. He's 80 years old. Sean Combs is 55 years old. There are efforts by Sean Combs to try to obstruct this investigation, reaching out to witnesses and victims, including behind bars. And there's
video's too old,
again,
man.
On the other hand, Mike Jeffries is charged with sex trafficking, using force, fraud, or coercion, very similar to Sean Combs, but they say that this is superficial similarities, and it's two completely different cases.
But they used the video to get everybody intrigued in the situation.
Yeah, I think so as well. Obviously, there's a little bit of overlap there. You know, they've both been indicted for sex trafficking charges in federal court in New York. They're both high public profile figures. So there's some overlap. But I think one of the biggest differences is
millions.
So far with the Jeffries case,
I think a lot of millions probably. It's his life. I'd give it all for my life.
You know, I think that's going to be a big part of what the prosecution is going to try to argue. And it was also layered into the hearing that happened earlier this week with all of the notes that were seized as well.
Nemo, we're getting some questions from our viewers, so I want to read them. Again, submit them on YouTube. The question that we first have is from Sandy Rivera, who, by the way, Sandy, thank you so much. I know that you always comment on YouTube. We really appreciate it. The question for Nima is, why did he request no restraints at this hearing? Just to put a little clarification on that, he had actually petitioned to not be in restraints, not only for this hearing, but the last hearing, and presumably for the hearings moving forward. It's interesting considering there's no jury yet, so why request no restraints?
Well, it's a typical request that defense attorneys raise, and certainly you don't want him to be restrained. If
Video used to piss people off, definitely.
That can be prejudicial. But right now,
made sure it got people involved.
Non-violent
had people to turn against him ASAP.
Something that the U.S. Marshals can certainly handle Sean Diddy Combs without restraints.
Question for you, Elizabeth. This is from Fishlock47 on YouTube. Are any celebrities expected to testify? Well, I don't think today. The question becomes, will they be testify at an upcoming trial?
Of course. There are going to be some celebrities testifying.
I don't think we're going to see any celebrities today. I think today
not today, but there are going to be some in the trial. There's going to be some people that turned on him.
Kept in prison until the trial, whatnot. But I would be shocked if there's no celebrities coming forward ultimately at his trial.
Come on, man.
Again,
we know that.
This is someone who's had relationships with celebrities, friendships, business relationships for decades. He's been in the business forever. There's going to be people who have relevant information.
Yeah.
Nima, question for you.
Why didn't they put a hold on his plane, house, SUV, but it was allegedly used in the crimes?
I'm going to turn it this way. Sean Combs'
I'm telling you, they allowed a lot of things. This is bigger than what we thinking.
This is what they write the court. They write Judge Subramanian.
They allowed a lot of things.
Bail application. We have submitted to the court and the government a 20-minute video under seal, and we don't know what that video is, but they said the video was prepared by Connor McCourt, who was previously a foot patrol officer with the New York City Police Department. He was promoted to sergeant. He was assigned to the Technical Assistant Response Unit. Why do I feel this has to be about Cassandra Ventura? I say that because it seems that a big factor, a big point of discussion in this bail analysis, and there's been briefs back and forth, has been whether or not she is credible, whether or not her description of this relationship was, for example, the 2016 video of her trying to escape a freak-off wasn't an example of sex trafficking, or as the defense would say, we'll show you text messages, we'll show you other evidence that this is just a really toxic relationship. It's not evidence of sex trafficking or racketeering. It can't be used to justify detention. Would I be so far off to say that this 20-minute video under seal might have to do with her?
I think that's a good guess, Jesse. And
Of course.
Can guess that because the defense has said that this video is edited. It doesn't show the full story. It's a snapshot in time. I don't know what more we need to see, even if the relationship was toxic, tumultuous. Let's not forget, it was Cassie Ventura's bombshell lawsuit in November that really started all this. And the other victims who have come forward have told very similar stories of physical and sexual violence. So
crazy.
Even if Cassie, Diddy's longtime girlfriend of more than a decade, is lying, even if you don't believe her, I mean, there are dozens of other victims who are telling the same story.
Yeah.
It's hard to disbelieve everyone.
Yeah. He admitted guilt when he paid her. I would have never did that. Once you paid her, you admitted guilt, man.
Who are there as well.
Yeah. He should have never did that.
As is usually the case, they are on his sides. Nima, I'll just go back to you. Is there some sort of security risk that we should be thinking about here?
I don't think so. I mean, Diddy could have taken off, and we're talking about bail. You're really looking at two issues: risk of flight and danger to the community. I don't think he's going to try anything because that's a surefire way to be shackled the rest of the trial.
They took his passport. They know he's not going nowhere, man. Like they say, risk of flight. They take your passport. You're not going in them other countries with no passport, man.
When that became a central issue of why he's been denied bail, if that's true, if the prosecutors can prove that to the court, that's not great. That would not be the most reasonable thing. We'll get to that in a second. We have a question from YouTube here. I actually think he probably has the better shot making bail in front of this judge right now because the judge is open to some of the arguments.
He definitely got a better shot at making bail in front of this judge, for sure.
This is from Dr. Firewater on YouTube. Seems like a contradiction, Firewater, but anyway.
Interesting.
Will Diddy's life be put in jeopardy if he's released on bail? Public outrage or celebrity hit job?
Nah.
Is it safer to keep him incarcerated until
Man, I think it's safer to let him be on bail.
I mean,
like, come on, man.
Mike Jeffries, he was able to be released on bail. He's
like, come on, man.
He's being monitored.
They're going to say is his life in danger on the street when he got security around him 24/7. Nah, come on, man. Stop that.
Prisons within New York.
More people are talking about Diddy than they are Mike Jeffries.
Stop that.
The argument would be are concerned about being wrapped up in Sean Diddy Combs' allegation.
Yeah, everybody cut Diddy off. Nobody's messing with Diddy right now.
In prison, though, there's always a risk that they could be possibly more targeted or sort of more attention.
I would agree.
More positive is paid on them while they're in jail versus, if he's sentenced to home confinement.
I would agree.
A lot of resources and a lot of wealth still at his readily available hands.
Yep. All right. We had a question from Sean D. Cole on YouTube. Nima, I'll throw this to you. What would be your best possible defense strategy?
Thank God I'm not doing defense work anymore, but I think the best defense strategy would be to argue that the sexual activity happened, but it was consensual. That gets rid of the force, fraud, or coercion. The challenge is if they do supersede and they add sex trafficking of minors, that argument goes out the window because minors can't consent. Now, Diddy is allegedly contacting witnesses, and there's probably a few ways that he can persuade them to either do a 180 or not show up at trial and testify. He can outright bribe them, pay them off through civil settlements and judgments. He can blackmail them. He can try to threaten them. But I mean, his best defense is for these witnesses to go sideways. That's really the only defense in this case.
All right, we have an update from court. Sean
He said
Combs'
if they
lawyer,
get him for
Diddy,
Tupac, he will run.
Mr. Sean Love Combs has traveled a long way.
He said if you get him for Tupac, how he gonna run?
Tell me about
He said he got money. I think they can pay somewhere hell. I drive for 20 million. For 20 million, you drive across the line.
Happened earlier this week about whether the government improperly
Okay.
photographed, potentially privileged materials of Sean Combs. I didn't think that issue was going to be decided today, or at least discussed today. I thought they were going to be briefing it, and maybe the judge would have to decide if there was a privilege issue later on. Actually, before I throw it to you, another update. As we sit, this is from Mark Agnifilo. As we sit here today, I'm not sure when legal was written on each of them. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. Different members of the defense team were telling him to write legal on the pads. There's a photo of a pad without legal on it. Again, this is all in relation to whether there was a big sweep at the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Yeah, that's what you said too. You said he wrote legal on it after they came in there.
Notebooks. And the question was, were 19 pages or other materials improperly photographed of his?
He said he could stay with you for 20 million.
What was written on the pads? What do you take away from this?
That's right. So I'm not surprised that the judge is discussing it a little bit.
He said those tapes allegedly show non-consensual.
Separate hearings regarding whether
I hope it ain't that, because if they show non-consensual, whew,
but he did say in a
it's gonna be rough.
Be prepared to talk about what happened with that legal sort of note that was on the papers and where did it go. I'm not surprised that he wants to talk about that, because I think a big part of what the prosecution is going to try to argue to prevent him from being released on bail is potential witness tampering. And what they said earlier this week is that there was some evidence within the notes of him, trying to contact witnesses through third parties, trying to get family members to post, positive things about him on social media. So I think there's a little bit of an overlap there.
I don't think it's nothing bad with him getting his family members to post positive things about him. Like, they reaching with that one. I ain't gonna lie, they really reaching with that.
Argue that prosecution to support your case. But Elizabeth does raise an interesting point here, Nima. The idea,
yeah, they reaching with that one.
Will come up was Sean Combs developing this social media campaign through his family? Really is centered around his birthday, to post positive messages about his birthday. There was this video of him, his family wishing him.
Why couldn't he post positive stuff?
On the other line from the MDC.
Like, come on, man.
Happy.
They tripping with that.
The idea was he purposely orchestrated this social media campaign to influence a potential jury. And the idea would be, if he's
come on,
behind bars,
come on, man.
You can't let him out on pretrial release. What else
like,
would he do?
Hold up.
Now, I'm curious your thoughts on this.
I have to say something about this, man. For him trying to put a social media together to get people to see him in a different light, there's nothing wrong with that. They are posting negative stuff about this man every day to make a jury think that he's already guilty. I can't believe they just said that, though.
Some would say, and the
I can't believe that.
You have evidence to prove that was his intent, was to influence a potential jury. Do you think that's strong, though? I mean, we're not even close.
Nah, that's weak.
To a trial. Do you think,
like, come on, man.
He's a public figure. Doesn't he have a right to change the public narrative?
Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, come on, man.
I'm pro-prosecution as they come, and I believe that they have evidence that he's contacting witnesses, and that is witness tampering and obstruction. But
yeah, he biased.
Social media, public relations.
This fruit pop biased. I ain't even gonna lie. He's biased.
You gotta kind of maintain your
he's biased.
Obviously, there's the courtroom, and
he said he's pro-prosecution. He's biased.
Or other order preventing him from doing this. So don't make arguments that not necessarily aren't nonsensical, that aren't really advancing your case.
He said they can't prove that about the birthday stuff.
You don't have to worry.
Really weak. I agree. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
It's interesting because his son took over his social media account, his Instagram account, and was posting like music videos of his father and
crazy
footage of his father, and we did a sidebar on what that might mean, and now we see what the prosecution is taking away from some social media posts. Okay, we have an update from court. Nima, I'll just start with you on this.
Let's see what they say.
Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, said, so it's clear that on November 1st, the sweep, which I mentioned, the sweep of the MDC, they did not all say legal, meaning it was not printed legal on his Sean Combs notepads. The judge says, the pad you handed up to me, did it say legal on it on November 1st? Agnifilo says, I'm not sure. The judge responds, moving forward, make sure representations are true. Ooh, felt like a little bit accusing the defense of not being totally transparent, right?
I think so, and it's not the first time. Going back to that video from 2016.
I don't like Diddy, but I think he deserves a fair trial just like everyone else. That's where I'm at with it. You know, somebody earlier today asked me, did I like Diddy? I said, man, I don't like nobody. But the man still deserves a fair trial like anybody else. For real.
20 pages. Judge, take the documents, review them in camera.
Just because the public is going against him doesn't mean he doesn't deserve a fair trial. That's where I'm at with it.
Any young lawyer can determine whether the documents are privileged or not.
And you know, these attorneys like him, they be real biased, man. Especially when they're prosecutors and they've been on that side. They real biased, man. Yeah, come on, man. Now they don't want him to tell the public about his birthday. Come on, man.
She responds, the laptop for him to review the discovery.
Yeah. I don't like the alleged crimes either. I definitely don't like the alleged crimes, but he deserves a fair trial. And we can both agree on that.
Arguments put forward by Sean Combs' defense team is he doesn't have the adequate.
You said at this point, you said, Candace, you said at this point, what is unfair for him? What is fair for him when he's been so unfair to others? Now, I understand what you're saying, Candace, right? But this is the legal system now. We can't put your personal feelings with a legal situation. These are your personal feelings, what you said. So he deserves the due process like anybody else. The people that encountered him that he didn't play fair with, that's not the legal system. So he deserves a fair due process, no matter what he did on his other time. This is the legal process now. This ain't just regular, just dealing with people. You know, people got the option to get away from people. You feel what I'm saying? You got the option not to go around these people. You got the option. But, you know, a lot of people deal with these celebrities because they're hoping to get on. You know what I'm saying? And what they do, they get used every time. So we got to understand as people, stop thinking that because you go around somebody that's rich, you're going to get somewhere. Stop that. You know what I'm saying?
With privacy and like you said, him being able to properly be able to.
You still got to treat him fair though.
If he's someone who's
like for real. And like you said, yeah, with the Kohlberger, like his situation, I really feel that they're treating him a little way different than Diddy, because they're about to throw things out in that case. They're about to throw things out that could damage the prosecution side. But with this situation, they got the whole public just talking about Diddy, and that guy got 4 murders. And they not saying he allegedly killed 4 people in a college area. And they're not pumping that as they're pumping this. Pay attention, man.
You know, discuss things more freely. In prison, you're really not afforded those same privacy rights. So I think that's an argument.
You're so right. I pray that this time justice is served and not like so many other times.
Please keep the questions coming if you have a question about this hearing. If you have
and
about this case,
and I feel with this, if justice is served because it needs to be served and the evidence is overwhelming, serve justice. I understand that. But the people that are lying, I really don't agree, because I'm sure not everybody's telling the truth. You know, when people feel that they can get some money, they're going to lie. And we have to be honest about that. We're not going to sit here and fabricate. I'm sure it's some victims that have felt that they've been done wrong and have been done wrong. But in these situations, people start coming forward and forward and forward because they're looking at the financial situation. And we got to be real.
Make sure to submit them now. This is with this being the presiding.
You said they won't get it suppressed with the Kohlberger.
Last chance for bail. I don't believe so. I believe that he can go to the Second Circuit and had petitioned the Second Circuit, but then put it on pause, waiting for Judge Subramanian to ultimately decide this issue. Right?
It's a lot of money flowing.
So
it's a whole bunch of money flowing.
That really removes jurisdiction of the ability of the trial court to make a decision. So obviously the case was transferred to Judge Subramanian, but they had appealed to the Second Circuit, which is the highest court before that appeal. But now what they want is another bite at the apple, see if the judge is going to disagree with the prior magistrate judge and district judge and actually release Combs on bail, which would be very surprising in my opinion, before they take it up on appeal.
Elizabeth, I'll turn to you on that. Again, the reason we know some of what
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna give him bail,
because I
but we
read
gonna
the
see
brief
though.
to the Second Circuit, they asked to put it on. They called it. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the legal term. Abeyance. They put the appeal on abeyance and said, pause it. We're going to go to Judge Subramanian. If he actually grants bail, this is all moot. Forget it. But you know, do you think the Second Circuit would be more amenable to his arguments?
I think it would be a bit more difficult. You know, obviously, whenever you appeal a case, the appellate judge is really more prone to being guided by former precedent. It doesn't mean that judges don't overturn decisions. They do all the time, but they are more privy to be bound to prior decisions. Here in this instance, this is his third attempt before the hearing today to.
Yeah, it's his third attempt.
Two prior judges who have said no.
We gonna see if the third time is a charm in this situation for brother, but I don't think so.
Talking about the bail, we now have an update on this.
We got an update.
Judge Subramanian says on the bail application, I don't have to deal with the Bustani case. The defense is saying there are extensive conditions proposed, including 24/7 security. What about the Fox case? Prosecutor responds, there was no RICO charge in that case. The judge said agreed. So now they're going through some of the case law that was debated back and forth between the prosecution and the defense. You know, Nima, I think what's really interesting, one of the
He said he has unlimited attempts.
and I think this is, you tell me if it's legitimate.
She told her boyfriend,
you're just hearing
pay him
from the prosecution
if he
about
said Diddy
danger here,
saw her.
lying
Yes,
allegations in the
yes,
They're saying that he
I
wrote out the
did
witnesses,
hear that one
Don't you need to
there.
hold a hearing? Shouldn't you call witnesses
Yes,
to prove that? Now,
I did hear that. She told the husband or boyfriend to tell them that Diddy did this and she was going to pay him. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, we really don't know if they're real victims or not. The money will make you lie. It's that there was crazy. Crazy.
they don't have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. They're not trying to say he's guilty of obstruction, but doesn't there have to be more than?
But Candace, I want you to look at what Michael just said. The victim, allegedly victim, she asked her boyfriend to hype the story up to prosecutors so that it can seem more real. I want you to think about that, Candace. We really got to pay attention to this thing from all angles, because there are some lying people out there that can be lying in this situation. And for her boyfriend to expose her, come on, man. We got to still pay attention to that, man.
The government's word.
Like, for real.
Not necessarily if the judge takes the government's
Gloria
word.
Alert was her attorney.
But I think the more on point
He said,
case
yeah.
in New York is saying
And
that
I don't trust Gloria at all. Don't trust her at all.
There was electronic evidence to support that he was.
There's a lot of fakes out there.
Alter and change
For real.
And his bond was revoked, and he was in custody all throughout trial. So I think that's the case. Look, I believe the government that they have evidence that these witnesses are being contacted by Combs or through intermediaries. They're not going to raise these allegations unless they have the receipts to prove it. So hopefully
that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. I'm going to tell you right now. Prosecutors will raise any allegations to get people thinking the way they want to think. So when he said that's a prosecutor making that kind of statement. Them people will lie on you quick to get a conviction. Come on, man. And we all know this. Crazy.
You would agree with me that there was no reality where Sean Combs believed he was not going to make bail. The reason he was so cooperative with law enforcement, he'd surrendered his passport, said he was going to sell his plane, came to New York to be arrested, hadn't left the country, right? Even though he knew he was going to be arrested. It seemed to me he thought he was legitimately going to make bail, that he would be on house arrest for a year, 2 years till trial happened. I don't think he thought that this would actually be a reality, right?
I agree, and my theory is that all of these steps were taken to
And
his attorneys.
I would agree, Mike. I would agree, man.
The judge, you know, he's not.
I would agree.
He's put up this $50 million bond. He's prepared to put his home up for collateral. All of these steps.
I agree that there are some legit lawsuits. I definitely agree that. But some of the things I think that, you know, they're hyped up. But we just don't know which one they could be. That's the thing about that game. You deal with so many people, you don't know which ones is hyped up. But that's the situation when you the man. When you top dog and you like take advantage of people and you play people over and over, you don't know who's gonna come back and play you.
to his arrest. So all of these steps to put forward to try to argue this is not someone who's going to flee. He can be trusted with home arrest. So I don't think he anticipated this.
Going to that, Elizabeth, we just have another update from court. Again, we're providing live updates about what is happening in that courtroom, considering there are no cameras there. Trust me, I could go on and on about it.
Of course. Mom got all the money in her name. Bad boy, all that. That's in the mom name.
And as we talked about,
I definitely agree on that.
package, 24/7 home confinement, no internet use, no phone use, limited visitors, visitor logs. Prosecutor says there has to be some level of trust that the defendant will follow him. Here, he will not, meaning not follow the rules. He cannot be trusted. Consider his conduct in custody after the two judges' findings, meaning there were two previous judges, Judge Carter, Judge Tanofsky, who both decided that Sean Combs was not entitled to pretrial release, not entitled to bail. What do you think about that?
Correct. Yeah, that's a really fair point. The two prior judges have denied and said he's not allowed on bail. So when you have those two decisions against you, I think most defendants would say, okay, I need to be extra cautious, make sure I'm following all the rules. You know, I'm not incurring any potential legal troubles moving down the line. There's allegations that, you know, he has contacted parties through third parties. He's made phone calls. So I think there's a substantial amount of information there to show that there is possibility that he could try to tamper with witnesses or obstruct certain evidence.
Nima, one of the arguments put forward by the prosecution was if he is able, if you take the allegations as true, he's able to use other inmates' PAC numbers to make essentially calls to people that are not listed on his contact list. If he's able to use three-way phone calls from jail to have, you know, improper communications, what the prosecution says. Is there any?
You said alleged participation plus J-Lo. Do you think they will go after her? Hey, listen, I think they're going to go after more people, but I don't think J-Lo. I don't think J-Lo pissed enough people off. So I don't think they're going to mess with J-Lo, though.
So this is all evidence of obstruction. If I'm the government, what I do is I supersede.
They want Diddy.
I add those obstruction charges, not necessarily because
now they might go to some of them other people to get them to cooperate, but I don't think they're going to charge him. They might scare him. You know how they use those scare tactics and say, we're going to charge you. So I think that can happen.
He's trying to actually obstruct the case, influence witnesses because he knows he's guilty of that. That would be the argument. Elizabeth, we have another.
But then what I say too, right? If he did use somebody's PIN number, his PIN number might not have went through yet. He could have been like, yo, make a call for me. I need my thing to go through.
That's interesting. Even family members.
But you know they're going to hold it on you. Regardless, as soon as they find out you did it, even if you didn't do it for the reason they're saying, they're going to make it that situation. And we got to be real.
24/7 security. Prosecutor responds, if he can't comply in a custodial setting, he will not comply if released. What type of security firm? They suggested a co-conspirator.
That's always a prosecutor's go-to. You can get a write-up because you didn't lock in your cell on time, right? And they'll say, you violated all the rules in the prison. Well, I didn't get in the cell on time. It was rushing me. But you're going to hold that against me?
They work for him. This would be the defendant buying his way out. The judge said, you've conceded that Bustani's bar does not
twist it off, of course.
You've cited his wealth to release him, so he can't use it. We'll get to that second argument in a second, but if that's true, this is who he was proposing to watch him?
Yeah, it's a fair point. And again, I think if you consider if he's, let's say, confined to his home and home confinement, I think there's even more opportunity for him to be able to utilize the team and the people around him, whoever they're working for, to be able to, you know, work within his favor. And also, this is not somebody who's going to be confined to a tiny little studio apartment. He has huge homes, huge estates. There's a lot of room for him to potentially go about, you know, continuing possibly the behavior that the prosecution is alleging he's already doing.
Like, they just want to make a reason that he's going to continue to do something. I don't think whatever he did before they accusing him of, he would do any of that on bail. If he did revoke it, send him to jail.
When somebody with lesser means wouldn't be able to do that and they don't get bail. Now, the defense says, wait a second. The only reason we're proposing such an expansive and expensive bail package like this is because of the very problems, the very concerns that the prosecution has. You say it's his wealth that's a concern. Well, we're going to show you, we're going to create such a package that alleviates any of those concerns. The reason it looks like this, and it's so expansive and includes 24/7 monitoring and all this, is because of what the prosecution said. You can't have a sword and a shield at the same time. You say he's wealthy, you say he has the resources to flee, to do what he wants.
You said
well,
probation.
Use that to try to negate those concerns. Where do you stand with that, Nima?
Well, it's not a flight issue, but a danger issue, and no other defendant, and I don't think that Jeffrey's case is similar, would be really.
Man, Jeffrey's case is similar. This guy is biased. I'm going to tell you that right now. This guy is biased. Straight up.
So I think that's a very strong argument for the government.
Yeah, it's definitely pennies.
We have another back and forth that I want to tell you about.
That guy is biased, though. I don't know what y'all think about that guy, man. He's just biased because he's so telling us why the other guy should have got bail and why Diddy shouldn't have got bail. He's 80, he's 50. Nah, man, hold up, man. They both got the same kind of charges, man. He's biased, man. Straight up. That's my opinion with this guy. He's biased, man.
Based on his wealth, but rather danger, risk of flight, and obstruction. The judge says, is obstruction your main argument? The prosecutor says, danger to others. So the judge says, so not for risk
Yeah,
of
he's
flight.
biased.
And the prosecutor says, we still rely on that too. What'd you make of that?
I think it's important that they.
Man, they should put him on pre-trial release, just how they do many other people. Put him on pre-trial release, man.
Again, so much of this comes back to that video of him and Cassie Ventura. He has,
And that's what they holding on. That isn't showing us any sex trafficking. That shows that he assaulted her. Like, they're making that as into the sex trafficking. That's what, you know, they play that game and that mental game. Come on, man. We seen the video and he was wrong for abusing that girl. But y'all adding that as if it was sex trafficking. They're putting this to the public eye and making us look at the video of him assaulting her, which was totally wrong, and making us view that as sex trafficking. Come on, man. That's what they got. Like, come on. We can't keep falling for this, man. Like, come on, man. Show us the sex trafficking stuff. Show us the victims and the names of the people that are associated with it so we can believe what you're saying. All y'all doing is showing us one video of Cassidy and then telling us about all these other things and keeping the information from us. Are we paying attention to this? Come on, man.
You want to save face, and if this is someone who's surrendered,
and this guy is biased. I don't like this guy. He's just biased.
I don't think the risk of flight is a very good argument compared to the obstruction and the danger arguments. So I would focus on those two.
You said they're saying she was escaping a freak off. In that situation, I didn't know that. I didn't know that because she went back in the room. So she didn't get it. I don't think she got away. She went back in the room, or did she leave later?
Generally, it's going to be danger or risk of flight, but the obstruction is important as well. So the standard is under federal law that detention is appropriate if there's no condition or combination of conditions that can guarantee the defendant's appearance at trial, and he or she is either a risk of flight or a danger to the community. Now, obstruction can come in as well, but it's typically danger.
Elizabeth, we have another update from court talking about obstruction. The judge says.
Okay, what did the judge say about obstruction? Cassie, I think, said it. Oh, you think she said it that she was trying to escape the freak off?
So he asks, he says, tell me about obstruction, prosecutor. Prosecutor Slavic says he's continuing violation of the rules, meaning, as we talked about what's happening.
Yeah, I don't think she left. I think she went back in the room.
Is running a PR campaign obstruction, meaning the social media posts?
Nah, hell no. Running a campaign to get people to like you, that ain't obstruction. They trying to find, they reaching, man. They really reaching.
Prosecutor says, he says, I want to reach the jurors. I need only one. Ah, so that's so interesting. That's the first time that we actually heard. They said they would have evidence to prove that this social media campaign.
Oh, see. Oh, we didn't know this. Diddy? Come on, man. Some things you got to keep to yourself. If he wrote on a piece of paper that I only need to reach one juror, come on, we know that. We know that, but that's something that you ain't supposed to say in this situation, man. God damn.
He's violated the so-called gag order. he's the one who asked for that order.
Right. I think the social media argument is a bit of a tough one to make.
Wow.
As we've noted, he's a massive public figure. People have continued to post on social media about this, people in his family and his friends. So I think that's a bit of a reach.
Wow.
But I think it's important that the prosecution highlights, again, any sort of evidence where he specifically states, I'm trying to target potential jurors here. He might have said that with social media, a little bit tougher. But I think the stronger points lie in if there's any sort of evidence that says he's trying to potentially contact witnesses through third parties to, what prosecution is claiming, alter their testimony, give sort of more favorable testimony. I think that's what's going to be more persuasive to the
By the way,
that could look good for him. I mean, that could look bad for him. I ain't gonna lie, that could be bad. We understand that you only need to reach one juror, but it's certain things when you're fighting in these situations, you got to take it easy and be quiet.
I don't think so.
Silence.
Again, unless
God.
you're commenting on something
Yeah.
specific regarding the
That look bad.
this case or the indictment,
No bail.
anything like that. I think general content posted on social media,
Yeah.
it's expected even in cases involving more private figures, let alone someone this public.
Nima, do you agree about the gag?
I agree. It's not within the limitations
Sheesh.
of the order, and again, this is just not a good argument for the prosecution. I agree that him trying to influence jurors, that is, but just generally a blanket argument against a PR campaign and social media post, not good. No judge in this country.
Well,
is gonna
at least this joker here says something that made sense, because I swear he was just biased the whole time. Yeah, you can't use that this man is trying to get people to like him with the social media post to say that he's trying to persuade the jury for that. No. Now, if he wrote something down, that's a different story.
You can't post on social media about your birthday.
Come on, man.
Forget about it. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
that don't make no
appellate
sense.
court would uphold that.
Nah.
Clearly, you do not believe that
Not at
the
all.
US being sued for copyright infringement is the bigger case, and that's shocking. I didn't expect that from you. Okay, we have another update from court.
He does
This is
like
from the
a
prosecutor.
TD
The
House,
court
get
entered
rid
the
of all
order
the
on
pizzas,
October
boxes,
25th. He started his
recycled plastic.
campaign on October 27th. He couldn't even comply for 2 days. The judge said, "What about the we have something. What about the Jeffries Abercrombie case where the government agreed to release on $10 million bond?" And then the prosecutor says, "We did a letter."
Let's hear this.
That's the letter that we read before, where basically the government talked about distinguishing Mike Jeffries. It's not only his age. We're talking about the idea that he's not charged with sex trafficking. There was not these repeated patterns of violence like they allege with Sean Combs. And so, again, now it seems like they're getting into that issue, which I think is going to be really, really important. Again, just
that's important for Diddy to be able to get the bail.
Mike Jeffries.
Because they saying that he ain't got sex trafficking. And it's crazy, though, with Diddy's situation that they charged him with sex trafficking because he was flying the broads in, man. That's why they charge him with the sex trafficking, because he's flying broads in and out of these different states. People do that all the time, man. So you can't tell a broad you're going to fly her out no more, because it can be sex trafficking, flying her out, especially, you know they want some money. You know broads ain't flying out for free. They want money.
There's currently over 100
Change the game with that one.
I haven't seen anything similar to that extent of Jeffries. And also, again, it keeps coming back to that video. There hasn't been any form of video evidence, at least that we've seen in the public domain. Correct. Yeah, with the Jeffries case
Crazy.
that specifically highlights what a danger he could possibly be to the public. Again, at least that we know of yet.
So we're going to go back
That
to
danger to the public, they using that too loose, man. I don't like that. They using that too loose at this point. He's under a microscope right now. You know he's not going out there being a danger to the public. Come on, man. He's under a microscope, man. Let's be honest. Here go this bias dude again.
The allegations are very serious. He probably will be convicted and will spend decades in federal prison. This is a very serious case with a lot of victims. He should not be released.
Here's the thing, and by the way,
He's biased.
Anytime you hear,
If it was his boy, he'd tell him, yeah, he should be released. He biased, man.
Ask pointed questions from each side when he's questioning them.
Yeah, he biased.
I want to be clear. Even though you're seeing tough questions for the prosecution, doesn't necessarily mean he's going to side with the defense and vice versa. Having said this, I'm going to read you the latest from court. The judge, the prosecutor, they're talking now about the 2016 video of Cassandra Ventura, or I believe that's what they're talking about. Because the prosecutor says, I think the better comparison is the 2 prior denials of bail here, but the judge said, what about the claim that the government spliced the video? Prosecutor said he apologized. That's the point.
Oh.
He apologized on Instagram 2 days after CNN published that video of him purportedly beating Cassandra Ventura back in 2016.
You see that?
The judge said, why did you use the splice video?
Yes.
The original.
Ooh.
The prosecutor said it was public. So it makes me wonder, is he open to the argument that there's more context to that video as the defense?
Yes. Because Cassidy might have hit Diddy in that video. You hear me? Cassidy might have been putting her hands on Diddy in that video.
I think if there's any sort of
Pay attention, man.
that video of him and Cassandra Ventura in that hotel hallway was doctored in any way or
Cassie,
anything, you still
Keefe D.
have
Oh, because Keefe D. Said 1 million was paid for Tupac's hit. Tupac family hired an investigator. I did hear about Tupac family hiring an investigator. Yeah, I did hear about that. Because you know they want a piece of that money. Tupac family like, hold on, we're going to get some of this money. But in this situation here, why didn't they show the whole video though? That's what I'm saying. Why didn't they show the whole Cassie video? Was Cassie putting her hands on him too? And the prosecutor said they're sorry for not showing the whole video because they redacted this video to put it to the public this way, man. They said this one was public knowledge. We got to pay attention, man. It's a lot of games these dudes be playing, man. God damn. But they can't find $1 million check. Yeah, because you know what? I don't think that Diddy gave him a check. Honestly, probably gave him cash if he did. I don't think he gave him the check. The check would be too easy to trace. They know that. Probably told him I'm gonna write a check for you, but he never gave him a check. It was some cash, and I don't even think probably people didn't even get all the way paid for that. You know how some of these dudes go out here and do these hits, and they don't even get paid. You see a Young Dolph situation? They killed Dolph and they didn't even get $1. We got to pay attention to that. They killed Young Dolph and didn't even get $1. They was told they was gonna get 100,000. But this is what happened. Like this situation, we understand that they can't deny the video, but let's go to the why did they edit it? Why didn't they just show the full version of the video so we can be able to take it from how it started? Come on, man. Keefe D said it was a check. Yeah, they need to show the whole thing. Yeah, of course. Why would they edit the video? Yeah, and that's what I just said. I just said that. This isn't evidence of sex trafficking. This is evidence of an assault 8 years ago that they can't even charge him with. Let's be real. Come on, man.
Regardless, I think you also have one of the
Crazy.
mentioned in the indictment was the
Do you believe Keefe D? Keefe D, I believe to a certain extent. Honestly, but I don't think nobody got paid. I think they went on a mission, right? And I think when Pac jumped on Orlando, yeah, they did knock him off, but that was the reaction from Pac kicking him. So they never got no money from it. They just reacted off of getting beat up at the casino, MGM. Boom, killed Pac, but they never got paid. This is my opinion. This is what I think. I don't think they got paid for the job, but I think Diddy offered. It was a bounty out on the situation. Yo, 1 million. I mean, yeah, 1 million if you knock Pac off. And that fight happened. Boom. Pac got knocked off. They wondering where the check at. Nobody got the check, man. This is my opinion.
So I'm sure the government is going to want to put their very best witnesses and victims on the stand because we know that the defense is going to come after them and come after them very aggressively.
All right, we have another update from court. This is from the prosecutor. This is
I think somebody did steal the necklace.
It shows why he cannot be released.
Yeah, I think somebody did steal the necklace.
Is committed to covering up his crimes. The evidence against him continues to mount. We've learned of punching and kicking employees, partners. So again,
but that doesn't add up to sex trafficking. They saying that he punched, kicked people, but that ain't adding up to sex trafficking. Come on, man. This is what I'm saying, how they hype it up on you.
Is there any chance the judge will accept it? I'll give my thoughts, but first your thoughts.
I don't think there's much of a chance at all, because for there to be a deal, it has to be something that Diddy would accept. And when you're talking about these types of crimes, I mean, the sentencing guidelines are through the roof. Now, maybe he'll get less than the decades in federal prison, I said, if and when he's convicted. But this is someone that doesn't want to be in bail for even.
Man, you don't even know if the man gonna get convicted. He already saying the man gonna get convicted. We seen what happened in other situations. Might take a plea, but God, you don't know what can happen, man. The case can get messed up along the way. And I said that with Young Thug's case the whole time, that it can be a plea deal in the middle of the case. While I was covering that case, I said it can be a plea deal in the middle of the case. And that's what happened. They gave Thug a plea in the middle of the case. At the end. These things can happen though, you know?
I agree with you. That seems to me the only thing. What happens if they say, we have evidence to charge your family with obstruction or other counts? We will not do that if you decide to plead guilty.
Yeah, he's not convicted yet, man.
Game changer. I'm going to be honest. As a former federal prosecutor, I put more than 1,000 people in prison, and oftentimes, you know, people would plead.
Listen to what he said. I put more than 1,000 people in prison. Just so happy.
Be a potential game changer, but just as the current indictment is and state of the case with no other co-conspirators, I think Diddy's not going to take any deal.
At all. I don't think Diddy's taking no deal. If he's smart, he wouldn't. He'd take no deal in no sex trafficking and stuff like that. You got to go to trial.
Engage in improper conduct or contact outside of jail, or some of the allegations that we're seeing in the lawsuits. Nothing to suggest that his sons committed any of these crimes, or alleged crimes, I should say. I want to go to you, Elizabeth. We have a question from Susie Payne on YouTube. Will Diddy take the stand, and when will we see the court case? Well, presumably we would see it May 2025. We're not going to.
Nah, they ain't gonna see it May 2025. You got all those motions gonna go through. All that stuff gonna get pushed straight back.
Certainly his right to do that.
For real.
I think that his defense team would be pretty worried about that, because then again, he's going to be subject to cross-examination, and I think these prosecutors will go extremely hard, show him all sorts of evidence, including the video and all sorts of probing questions. So yeah, I mean, this is a criminal case. This is not a civil lawsuit. So.
He took the stand in the 1999 nightclub shooting case, worked from there, but kind of a different case here. Okay, so we have
Diddy better not take the stand in this, because he can't point the finger at somebody else. In that 1999 case, he pointed the finger at Sean.
I'm going to have Ms. Shapiro lead us off. This is the other defense counsel, and she responds, he was not dragging her back to the freak-off. The judge says there was dragging. Shapiro says, I don't mean to. Judge says there was kicking.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep prolonging it too.
Your thoughts about what the judge is getting to here?
Yeah, I mean,
I think they're going to keep prolonging it too. But they keep showing this video of Diddy assaulting her, like trying to add this to the sex trafficking. This is like, come on, man, this is the mental games. Show us the sex trafficking. Show us the people that were on tape in his house. Why we don't see that? They said they found a lot of tapes. They found a lot of footage. They got a lot of celebrities, but we not seeing none of that. They not showing us that. They keep showing us this one video of him assaulting Cassie, and they're just saying sex trafficking. We want to see all the people that is associated with this situation, man. For real.
Very disappointing. No cameras in federal courthouses, let alone in New York, except maybe in exceptional circumstances. But no, there's going to be no cameras in the trial. That's why we're doing our best right now to give you a sense of what's happening in that courthouse.
The gag order. Yeah, they got the gag order, but I think they said by Diddy posting for his birthday that he was breaking the gag order. But I know they got a gag order, though.
What about the 2018 text messages with victim one about violence? And we believe that victim one is possibly Cassandra Ventura. Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, responds, we have gathered more information about victim one, even yesterday. I don't want to quote it because it's under seal and should be. It was consensual. Okay. So going back to what I mentioned before, Nima, what's today, the 22nd? They filed this yesterday, the 21st. I, again, think that the defense's letter to the judge about this 20-minute video under seal. So what are they trying to say? That everything that happened between him and, if we presume victim one is Cassandra Ventura, was consensual, and therefore that could not be used by the prosecution as evidence that he is a danger to the public?
Jesse Victim one does appear to be Cassie Ventura, and I want to raise an important point that just happened there in court. And something that defense lawyers do, they have to advocate for their clients, but I think it's shameful. You saw that Agnifilo didn't defend Diddy when it came to violence against a woman, so they put a female defense lawyer to do that. So that's pretty common in these types of cases. That's why Shapiro started.
Okay.
But we're talking about
Okay.
from Cassie to
That was a
Diddy.
good
Go back
tactic.
to her
Put a
lawsuit.
female lawyer
She
in
said
front of
that
the
she was forced to
court
have sex with male prostitutes while Diddy watched.
in this type of situation.
So I believe what she's saying, and there's text messages that corroborate her accounts of what happened. She has said to Diddy that I'm a human being, I'm someone's daughter, you beat me, you kicked me. That's all in text messages, and I don't think the defense can deny that.
Oh yeah.
Ah, that's deep.
By the prosecution as examples
Now
of
that proves assault,
and
though.
also he
We
allegedly
still not seeing anything about the trafficking, though. Where's that at?
exposed videos of the freak offs if she didn't do what he wanted. Now you're hearing the response from the defense. I've got a question from Ashley Glass on YouTube. Will the Law and Crime Channel be covering the case when and if it happens next year? We will do our best, given the circumstances of no cameras.
Yeah, you can't go in the courtroom, so they're gonna be covering it
Elizabeth,
just how they covering it now.
back and forth. Is there a possibility the judge will not make a decision today, or after hearing the arguments from both sides, in briefs and today, I mean, it seems probably more likely than not we are going to get a decision on Diddy's bail.
I'd be really surprised if there wasn't a decision.
Yeah, of course, the judge is gonna make the
judges
decision
were able
today.
to make their decisions pretty quickly, and again,
Yeah.
this is a case where.
But the
time
judge
is of
already
the
knows
essence. I think both
if he want to
prosecution
give
and
Diddy
defense
bail
don't wanna push
right
the
now
decision
or
for
not.
their
He
own
knows.
reason. So I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a decision, and federal judges are prone to act faster than state judges.
Nima, I'm going to you. Judge, update from court. Judge Subramanian asks, I don't want to quote from them, but you know the ones I mean. Again, it seems to be this information under seal. And Mark Agnifilo says, we are proposing an independent security firm. There has been mutually regrettable physical conduct going both ways. There was violence by this other person and by Mr. Combs allegedly. You're also getting a preview, I think, Nima, of some of the defense strategy when this goes to trial.
Pretty shameful victim shaming.
You said, well, he was her boyfriend for years. Yeah, he was with her for years, and she was. Come on, man.
There, right? Her being dragged by her feet, her being kicked, the vase being thrown at her. Terrible, terrible stuff.
They had physical abuse in the relationship. That's what we're hearing.
But to attack Cassie Ventura and say that she was the violent one or the instigator, pretty shameful.
And we got to be honest, right? Let's be honest. There's some women that are very violent as well. So it could go both ways. We don't know if she was throwing stuff, punching at him. We just know what they saying, man. And that's the crazy thing about these situations. If somebody wants to turn off that behavior and act like they never did it, and they make the claims against somebody else, they can do that. We don't know if she was punching on him too. And it's not right for him to hit her, right? But we don't know what Cassie was doing, man. And when you see it like Krishan Rock, when we see her punching Blueface, we don't got no sympathy for her situation. And let's be real. Krishan Rock was getting beat and hit by Blueface, but she was hitting back. She was starting trouble. Nobody got no sympathy for that because they seen the details in it. We ain't seen no details in Cassie's situation. We just hear all the allegations. So we got to be real with that.
Too much of a risk. We can't let this person out on bail. And if the judge takes a chance and says, let's try home.
Show the entire video. That's my point. I'm with you on that. Show the video.
Outcome of the trial. Again, a big part of the indictment focused on the element of control and power that he had. So if Diddy is able to exert that same level of control and power over witnesses to try to block potential testimony, that could be devastating for the case.
And by the way, tell me if I'm totally crazy here, Nima, but his team was pushing for a trial to happen as soon as possible, presumably because he doesn't want to be, in jail for the next 2 or 3 years. Risk it, go to trial. They might think they have a good defense. But if he's granted bail today, are we going to see a motion tomorrow, Monday? Let's postpone the trial. Hey, I'd like to be on home confinement for as long as possible before going to trial. Am I crazy to think that, Nima?
You're not crazy at all.
Nah, you're not crazy. That's probably going to happen if he does get a bail. Why wouldn't he want to push it back? It's no rush now. The only rush is when you're sitting in jail.
On the defense bar, they don't like their clients being in custody is not just preparing for trial, but oftentimes defendants will want to plead just to get the whole thing over with. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen.
And listen,
there's so much time,
you
but
have
you're
to
absolutely
watch
right.
out
If
for
you see
that.
case being
They
done,
will revoke your
being
bail,
out a year
keep
or
you in
even
jail
longer,
to try to
maybe
get you to
it's
take
high
that
over
plea. And they've done that to a
And
lot of
update
people in
from
life.
court where it seems
Keep you
that
in
with
jail,
Elizabeth, the
no bail,
defense
and
is
then
not
say, all right, we're going to give you
denying they've
probation
had
and let you go home.
communications,
Take this
but they're
plea.
saying
That's just to
nothing
get the
really what these
conviction.
communications are,
Got to pay
because
attention
they
to
just
that.
said, Sean Combs' lawyer, Ms. Shapiro, in the LaFontaine case from 2000, the defendant told someone to lie by phone from the MCC. This was another federal prison. This is actually where Jeffrey Epstein died. But it says, in the Gotti case from 1996, the head of the Gambino crime family, the witness received a kick in the ass. The government does not have that here. So they're trying to distinguish maybe what Sean Combs said. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the defense is going to try to push. They're going to say, you know, he's entitled to work on his defense while he's in prison. There was no sort of attempt to obstruct
Of course,
justice
it's
or try to
easier on the
sway
outside to
obviously
prepare for the
that's what
trial,
they're
because
saying.
when you
That's
inside, you
also
only get
when
certain
was
times to
in
go
those
get your
notes,
law
he's been
library
held
in.
for weeks on
It's
end, and what evidence
totally
he
hard.
has in terms of
I would agree on
so
that.
they're saying that they have intercepted recorded calls of him trying to instruct witnesses about what to say. So
Now, if he did that, that was stupid.
All right, Nima, I want to
That
get
was
another
stupid,
question from you
because
before, I have
people
to
be
start
in jail
talking
talking on them
about
phones,
guests that are coming
and
in
it
in a
tells
minute.
you when the
Take a
call
quick break
starts.
before we do.
This call
Nima,
is
this is a question
monitored and
from
recorded.
IDD on YouTube.
Crazy.
What is the prosecution's counter argument against it being consensual behavior?
Well, it's going to be the testimony of the witnesses, right? They got to show that force, fraud, or coercion. That's what separates consensual sexual activity between adults. It can be as freaky as the participants want, as long as it's consensual. So they need the testimony of the witnesses. But also, let's not forget, there's a lot of video evidence here, right? Diddy recorded these videos allegedly for his own sexual gratification, but also to maintain control over the victims. But I really think the game changer in this case, Jesse,
Wow.
is if there's a superseding indictment alleging
Wow.
sex trafficking of minors. That takes consent out the window.
That
Sheesh.
changes the whole game. All right, so we're going to take a break. We're going to continue covering these updates for what's happening in that
Sheesh.
courtroom. Sean Combs' bail day. We'll see if Judge Subramanian is more receptive to these arguments. Will he grant Sean Combs bail? We'll wait and see. But Elizabeth Vulai, Nima Rahmani,
Yeah, we going to see. We definitely going to see, man. Diddy is definitely in the hot seat right now. And I know he's hoping that it goes his way, but sometimes these situations disappoint you, man. You expecting to get a bail, you expecting to go home, and he got to face the music, though. This is his life. This is his situation. This is not our situation. This is the music he got to face. We observing it from this side, so we don't have to go through that. We ain't doing nothing on that level. He talked in codes, allegedly pizza boxes. Yeah, see, it's crazy if people think that they can talk in code on a jail phone that's recorded. They know every single code that you can send through it. Pay attention. They got people that break these codes down for a living. Like, you can't think you're going to be able to say whatever on a jail phone and they don't pick it up and they don't come back and use it against you. They allowing you to get on that phone, so hopefully you do it and it helps their case out. So guys that get in them situations, you got to just sit and fight your situation, man. Trying to reach out to people. You just got to hope that the people do the right thing if you didn't do something. If you did it, you know they're going to come and testify, and you got to be prepared for that. In that situation, Diddy has to be prepared that people are going to come testify, and probably in this situation, they're not going to turn around. They're going to keep going forward because they're looking at the financial aspect of it, and they want to get Diddy out of here. They don't want Diddy. That's the rest of your life. And that's what we see is happening. So I really think that they're not going to give him a bail. And we're going to sit here and we're going to monitor and we're going to find out if he's going to get a bail. But I don't think he's going to get one, man. I really don't think they're going to give him a bail because they want to make sure that he sits in jail and that they get this conviction. And it's going to be easy for him to get out there and fight. And then, it might be some witnesses that don't want to come forward because he's home. So let's leave him in here so everybody feels confident about coming forward. And I can say that's not fair, but I think that's a part of their game, because if he's home at his house on home confinement and he can't contact the people, then if you want to go to court, go to court. But I guess the court system looks at it like these people will be intimidated that he's on the street. Well, I got to pick up my Camaro. I'll be back. I got a new exhaust tip. Yes, sir. Pick that Camaro up and enjoy it, man. Enjoy it, man. Life is good when you be able to do the things you want to do, brother. I definitely love to hear that. Yeah, man. Diddy got a situation right now, and it's no love from nobody. This is a situation that you got to deal head on. When you want people to respect you, you got to be more respectful, because now everybody's against him. Woo.
But this is the first time the current judge overseeing this case, Judge Arun Subramanian, is actually deciding this issue. And we're seeing back and forths.
All right, for a cycle.
And the defense on this.
Turbo.
There are no cameras.
33 miles a gallon.
Our very own Elizabeth
That's beautiful.
Miller is inside that courtroom. She's going to come out a little bit later, tell us what she saw, what she heard. But what we are doing right now is providing you live, real-time updates about what is happening in that courtroom. There is reporting coming back, so I want to get into it right now. Really interesting about what's happening. Let me bring in criminal defense attorneys Brian McMonigal and
Let's see what they talking about now.
To the stars. Great to have you, gentlemen.
Let's see what they talking about now.
What is happening right now? So, Sean Combs' attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, is having a back and forth with Judge Subramanian. I'm going to read everybody the back and forth. So first, defense attorney Shapiro says, we cited the Trump case. Defendants have greater rights to speak than their lawyers. An Instagram post, as well as I don't know if I can. And then the judge says his communications from the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center. Shapiro says he says the prosecution is motivated by racism. So let me just be clear about this. There's a conversation, there's a discussion about what was he saying, maybe on telephone calls to other people while he's been locked up at the MDC. The other question is, was he orchestrating a social media campaign using his family to post things online that might potentially influence a jury? So keeping that in mind. Ms. Shapiro, again, Sean Combs' lawyer, says, this is covered by the First Amendment. Messages they point to are not instructions to lie. There is a barrage of negative media coverage. He has a right to respond to that. The judge asks, why not through counsel? Honestly. Shapiro says, we're happy to do that. Shapiro says, but we're lawyers. It's not really what we do. Some of these recordings shows that he's telling people, just tell the truth, talk with my lawyer. And then the judge says, victim 3,
they're not telling us that, though. They're not telling us that.
Same on witness
Come
1,
on,
witness 2.
just tell the truth.
Says,
be
what
honest.
Communications that are missing. Agnifilo, this is Mark Agnifilo, this is Sean Combs' other lawyer, says, witness 1 reached out to Mr. Combs' counsel. And
I agree, Candace. He did create his reality.
Because it was an odd request. I don't know the factual answer. The judge responded, how do you know not now? How do you know no? Or how do you not know, maybe? Oh, it's how did you not know? That's exactly. How did you not know? And Sean Combs' other lawyer, Tenny Garrigo, says, there was a message from Mr. Combs to witness 1. I'll like to give it to you under seal. Prosecutor Foster may know it does not give rise to the level of obstruction. I do not have the actual message. Brian, I'll start with you. A lot of back and forth here. It's about whether or not his communications are a form of obstruction. It's about whether or not him even initiating a social media campaign would be to improperly influence a jury. This all goes to the issue, is he a danger on the outside? Is he flouting the rules inside?
I think they hyping it up on that, man. I really think they hyping it up when they say the danger on the outside. That's just my opinion.
It sounds like our judge here is trying to give a real fair analysis to all this. And this is a collision between First Amendment rights, as far as I'm concerned, and some of the requirements under bail, if there should be bail given. And
Said,
tried
I
to
don't
have
understand.
contact with witnesses
You have it
to
all
determine
billionaire
what's
cars,
in the
houses, and
but
allegedly
also
doing these things.
able to defend yourself.
It's a power
and
trip.
marshal
It's definitely a
defense
power trip.
and speak your
When
mind
them
as a
dudes
defendant. And
got all that
judges
money,
always have a
they
very
want to
difficult
make
time
people
trying
do
to
what they want them to
balance
do,
those two
man. And it's crazy that
issues.
the American and
I
the
think
human
judge is
species
struggling with
thinks
this
like
because,
that, but
this is a man who's on trial for his life. His liberty's
sheesh.
been taken away from him, and he's fighting back. And that would be something that one would expect if someone.
Listen, and we got to be real like this, man. If you are charged with a crime, you deserve a fair due process and not being overpowered and overshadowed by the justice system so that they can prove their point. In today's world, I don't think, really, and this is me being honest, I don't think we are ever going to have a fair due process anymore because of the social media and people's opinions. People are forming these opinions, and then other people got to decide on this. So I don't think we're going to ever have fair proceedings no more, especially if you're a public figure. That's just me saying this. You're a public figure,
I think that's
you don't get a fair proceeding anymore.
A lot of defense attorneys make
Because everybody's going to know your business and they're going to already presume you're guilty because how everything is pushed to the public.
You have clients that have not been in a situation like this before where they're in custody, where they are getting a barrage
crazy.
of allegations against them. Some may have some basis of truth and some may not. And you've seen that over and over again in this case. There have been reports of things that went on and different allegations against
that artificial intelligence is crazy.
Just rumors and they're not true.
How you can make a video of somebody being there and ain't there. So it's like, I seen you on video, but that wasn't a real video. Now we got to pay attention to that now. When somebody say, I seen you on video, man, that wasn't a real video. How do I know it's real? AI is crazy.
That he's done in the past and the charitable things that they've done in the past. When you have a case like this where they are just every day there's something that is coming out
Every
that is
day.
by
Every
either
day.
the government or a party that's involved or someone that's interested in the case.
Yeah.
Where it is affecting, that could have affected a jury.
Yes, he's not ever going to get a fair trial, man. Whoever feels he's guilty, understand he might be guilty, but he deserves a fair trial, and he can't get a fair trial with all the propaganda pushing against him. It's impossible. Everybody's already presumed their opinion if he's guilty. So how do you go in here and listen to evidence and say he's not guilty when everybody already says he's guilty? It's like, and I wouldn't recommend him to go with a judge trial at all.
Whatever party that leaked that tape, a lot of not going back to that. No one's really discussed how that tape is.
Well, I'm glad they got software to detect that for real, because man, that there is wicked that they can do that to people.
Why he is making these, these PR moves on social media. I think it all comes back to that tape. And I think that's their strongest, quote unquote, strongest piece of evidence in terms of their star witness to say, hey, this guy's a bad guy.
Right.
I do like the fact, and I will agree with Brian, that the fact that they're having a conversation, that the judge is engaging them is always a good sign. Is it, the end all be all that he's going to grant him bond? I don't know. I think this is a tough.
Yeah, this is a tough situation. I ain't gonna lie. This is a tough situation for Diddy to get that bond. It's very, very tough.
That they're facing and the type of allegations to get a bond. Certainly, the bond package is pretty extensive in my opinion. A $50 million bond is nothing to sneeze about.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Heavy. Diddy may be able to argue artificial intelligence framed him, and he probably can. He probably can argue that because artificial intelligence took over, man. And for real.
Ms. Shapiro, who's Sean Combs' lawyer, says, I submit the charges in the Jeffries Abercrombie case are worse than here. They allege an international sex trafficking business. They were raped and forced to engage, and I'm not going to say, but in certain sex acts. And by the way, the argument here is, and this is what the Judge Subramanian said, is distinguished prosecution why it is Sean Combs, after putting forward a bail package, as we said, $50 million, 24/7 private security firm, limited visitors, visitor logs, no internet use, no phone use. Why is he denied bond when you have Mike Jeffries, the former head of Abercrombie and Fitch, who was just arrested and charged with sex trafficking? Why is he out on $10 million bail? And by the way, the prosecution responded earlier, and they had a back and forth about this. He's 80 years old. Sean Combs is 55 years old. Sean Combs is charged with racketeering. He's not charged with racketeering. Sean Combs has alleged instances of prior violent behavior, not the instance with Mike Jeffries. But here you're seeing, Brian, where they're saying, we actually think the Jeffries case is worse. What do you make of that?
They don't want to say that, though. They don't want to say that.
That's the road they have to travel because it's precedent. You know, you're not supposed to have different rulings for like-minded cases. Disparity in treatment is always frowned upon in the federal court.
Yes.
And here they have a significant public interest case where bail was set at $10 million by agreement. It wasn't debated over. The government agreed to it.
Yeah, who cares about his age?
Puffy Combs' case, and
nobody cares his age. That was his choice that he did it when he was older.
For someone who I don't believe has ever been convicted of a federal crime or a felony, I could be wrong about that.
Nah, Diddy ain't been convicted of no federal crimes.
That make the previous bail package pale in comparison. So they're right to make this argument. It's precedent. It's precedent within that jurisdiction. And I think the judge is going to look hard at it. You know, you've now got two rulings that have gone against him, so he's got to look at those rulings and those judges. But he's also got a situation where the government has agreed to bail in a situation that's, if it's not as bad, it's pretty darn close by accusation.
Right.
And look, I think they, you know, look, it's also a different court. This is this is the Southern District of New York. That was the
they laid that one out good.
But even you put that difference aside, this seems to be one of the more compelling arguments put forward by the defense. Bradford, we're also taking questions, by the way. So anybody who has questions about this case, submit them on YouTube. If you have questions about the hearing, submit them. We have this interesting question from Sahara Useri on YouTube. Why did Combs get a new judge to begin with? It's interesting, right? Because I believe we had a district
Probably
court
the judge was being biased and got
a
caught.
district court judge, now Judge Arun Subramanian. Why do you see a reassignment of a case like this? Why is it now in the hands?
He probably was being biased. The judge probably was being straight biased, and they noticed it, got him up out of there.
In front of a magistrate, that's usually the first person who hears the case, if it's a bond issue, and or if it's even a preliminary issue. A lot of times, court judges will give magistrates the power to rule over different kind of motions to suppress and motions to dismiss. But we always go in front of a magistrate that's associated with the judge, and then generally you then go to the judge that's going to have your case. It just depends. Sometimes you go to a temporary judge until it gets assigned. A lot of times judges don't have time.
Okay, so they saying it was a temporary judge. Now they got the permanent judge.
That will behoove a trial in a certain period of time. I believe that this trial is being set for April, and it might be the other judge that was assigned already has a case that's set for April. That's not uncommon. I don't see that as like unusual. We've seen that in many cases. I've had many cases where judges have changed at the beginning of the case. It's usually unlikely that at the end of the case that you have a judge that'll change once they've heard motions and once you've done discovery and things of that nature. But I don't find anything of that unusual. Magistrates are always common. You always go in front of a magistrate first, and those are usually randomly assigned. And then a judge is randomly assigned, and then another judge can take over at any time. It's not that big of a deal.
And by the way, I wish we had cameras in the courtroom, but based purely on the arguments that we're seeing and have seen with Judge Subramanian, I feel confident to say this feels like a very fair, well-reasoned judge. The way he was pressing the prosecution, the way he's been pressing the defense, it's really something to
That's how they all should be.
That's exactly the kind of
his behavior in jail might hurt him, though. The behavior in jail might hurt him. But there should be always a fair judge, man. The judges should be fair, man. They should get sanctioned if they're not fair. Like, you're the referee, man. Can't be taking sides, man. If you're the referee, man. For real.
Here's another question. I'll throw this over to you, Brian. from Europes Hunar on YouTube. If Diddy gets out of bail, does that mean that he gets out immediately, like this hour?
Yeah.
It'll happen pretty quickly.
Yeah.
He'll have to go back. Usually you have to go back to the detention center that you're being housed
I
in.
thought with the federal, they let you go at the jail. You make the if you get bail, they let you go right there. You don't have to go back to the jail. I know in the state you do, but I didn't think you had to do that in the federal.
The eyes of the world are watching it. I think it'll happen pretty quickly. It'll certainly happen. I think sometime tonight, if he rules tonight. I mean, that's, you know, some judges recognizing that there could be an appeal of this ruling will take the time to issue a written opinion. And that would be the only reason I would think this judge would hesitate before ruling in this case. He seems, as you've described it to be a really fair-minded and thoughtful guy. That is his reputation. And some of those judges that are more thoughtful and more fair-minded issue written opinions, which he may do in this case.
We have
I'm sure he's going to have a written opinion.
Again, defense counsel.
They got an update.
While in Jeffrey's case, one defendant is 80 and the other is 71, Mr. Combs is 55. I hate to say it, it's not that young, because that was one of the things the prosecution said. Like, you're dealing with an 80-year-old. Yeah, you're dealing with an 80-year-old.
Okay, so somebody's 71.
He's 55. You know, he's much younger. He's more of a danger. The judge says the U.S. suggests he won't follow conditions. Shapiro said
man,
are more
they be reaching, don't they?
than in the prison. Again, I kind of laid out what some of the conditions are. Bradford, your thoughts?
I think the argument that one guy's 80 and one guy's 55 is, if I was a judge, I think that would fall on deaf ears.
Yeah.
An 80-year-old might be more willing to do.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing about the age too. Like, come on, man. Why do you keep saying his age? If he was charged with the same crime, he was charged with the crime. Like, what does his age got to do with it?
That's not that young. So it's the argument itself is not great about the age. I think the stronger argument is maybe that in the RICO charges, they're charging some sort of violent behavior. That's probably a stronger argument because
you know when the violence is involved,
a history
they want to hold it on you with the violence
or participation in violence. But the allegations of the sex trafficking are very, very, in my opinion, are worse for the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch.
Woo!
It's funny that it just by happenstance these cases happen together.
And it's crazy that they're saying the guy they gave bail to, sex trafficking charge, is worse than Diddy. But they're not giving Diddy no bail, and they're talking about Diddy every single day on the news. But they're not talking about that man, and they keep saying his age.
Run for it at any time, right? It's not just that he's a danger; it's also that he's a flight risk. They were arguing. He could have made a run for it at any time. He has jets. He could have gone to Mexico. He could have gone anywhere, and he never did. He surrendered when he was supposed to.
See, and that's what I'm hoping the judge takes
pick him up at night at a
credible for.
When they knew that they could have called him and he would have just surrendered in the morning. I think that it goes to show a lot of bias, obviously, on behalf of the.
I just said that.
I just said
that.
Like this judge, who used to be a clerk for really, really good judges and was in the commercial business world and kind of looks at things that way and looks at objectivity that way, I think was a real, real good thing for Sean Combs here, because a lot of other judges that have been kind of jaded by the criminal
bias
system might not give him as fair of a shake as this judge is. And this judge is fairly new to the bench, so I think that benefits Sean Combs as well.
It's interesting you say that, because I want to read you the latest from court right now. So the judge says, Mr. Agnifilo, where is the home he'd be in? So again, if you're talking about home confinement, Agnifilo says, I don't want to give the address, but it's on Star Island. There's a causeway. This is
That's crazy, though.
There's a docks.
When they got somebody else that got the same charges and looked at worse, but they give him bail, man.
He comes back and he says, there is an apartment.
It's a bigger agenda, man. I'm hoping the judge is fair, though.
The judge says, where are the 24/7 security?
Crazy, man. It's crazy.
Says, would you like to speak to him or me? It's Patriot Security. They merged with Crisis 24. So, Brian, now.
See, you could think he's guilty or not, but the man deserves a fair due process, man. Yeah, Abercrombie and Fitch was flying models in, promising them contracts.
by the way, we have another
Crazy stuff. Seriously, how can a person be worse than Diddy? What about all the three-way calls from prison and how he can't follow rules and doesn't know the meaning of the word no? I mean, Candace, I'm with you in understanding, what you're saying. But how do we know he wasn't following the rules? Because he wrote on a piece of paper? Because he told somebody to make a phone call for him? We need to see it. We need to hear it so we can be able to identify it. Them just telling us, they leaving stuff out, Candace. That's just my opinion. They leaving stuff out. And if they saying that this guy from the Abercrombie and Fitch was trafficking women from different areas, and they saying that it's worse, and these are white folks saying it's worse. You understand what I'm saying? We got to pay attention to that. These are white folks saying that it's worse. Come on now. It's worse than Diddy if they saying it's worse. They right there dealing with it.
That will be the first piece of evidence they introduce.
We need to see the whole picture. Mike, I'm with you on that. We can't make our judgment off of these partial pictures they keep giving us, partial videos. How we gonna make? I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? And Candace, and I'm gonna say for me, I've been to trial 6 times, and I'm like Rocky. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going all the way to war, and I know that they play dirty. Candace, this is all I'm saying. I understand. You look at the situation and you look at him and you feel already he's guilty. But I just know that the prosecutors do not play fair. They have tactics that they use that us as the regular people don't understand. Diddy did kids. Please, this is not about race. You said Diddy did kids. I mean, that's what they telling us though, Candace. We need to see evidence of it though, Candace. We seen the evidence of the assault. We see this. He assaulted Cassie, and he was totally wrong for that. But we have to see the evidence. They told us about all these other people. We ain't seen these people. They telling us that he did this with kids. We haven't seen. We need to see evidence, Candace. And that's what I'm saying. And I'm glad you understand that the system is crooked. I'm glad that you understand that. It's very, very crooked. So if I see evidence, then I can say, but I'm just hearing people talking. I don't trust nobody. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't trust anybody. Nobody. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? So somebody telling me something, I need to see it. I see he assaulted Cassie, and I see that. He was wrong for that. But I'm not seeing the other stuff. I'm just hearing it. I don't believe anything anybody says. I need to see. That's just me personally. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against anybody, respect, everything's all love, but I need to see. I'm not believing nothing. You can't tell me anything and expect me to believe you. I don't care who you are. I'm not listening to anything. I need to see. Yes, I have seen the way men cover for themselves. We all know these Diddy types. Now, hey, I don't associate with nobody, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know them type. Nobody comes around me. Nobody. I don't want you around me. I don't want you in my space. So we don't even have these issues. They go to the grave with their secrets. Of course they do. No. I'm not gonna say all of them do. A lot of them come out and tell later. So some of them keep it and go to the grave with it, but you can't trust all these guys. I'm not covering for him. I think he's guilty, but still need proof. And listen, I agree. He might be guilty. You know what I'm saying? I agree. He might be guilty. But I'm not covering for him. Like you said, he deserves a fair due process. That's all I'm saying. Everybody deserves a fair due process. And I'm not saying that somebody should get certain things taken from them because we feel that he's guilty. I feel that he should get the same process as the Abercrombie and Fitch guy. He got bail. He offered a $10 million package. They gave it to him. Diddy's offering a $50 million package, but they're saying no. So that's where I'm at with it.
things on the fly and being
He
able
said,
to
I'm
modify
similar
the
though.
argument that way.
I've got the
I honestly
sixth
think when
sense.
a judge starts
And
asking
listen, it's good to have that sixth sense. You stay away from people, you really eliminate a lot of BS. When you start embracing people and you want to go around these celebrities, don't you know they're taking advantage of everybody because they know everybody wants some money from them. And that's real.
Okay, want to talk about the security team? So they say, because the judge asked,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? They said, what type of security team? He's suggesting a co-conspirator, one whose phone was taken only
I also believe he murdered, but if he's indicted, he deserves a fair trial. Hey, Mike, I'm agreeing with you. That's all I'm saying.
So the reason I bring that up,
if they charge you with a crime, you're presumed innocent till guilty. Go through the process. Fair due process. And a lot of times they don't want to give people the fair due process when they feel that they have money to fight the case. That's the thing. If they feel that you have any knowledge, if you're not going to just lay down, they don't want to give you the fair due process.
To have waited 9 weeks to get a laptop into the MDC. The judge says the solution is for you to come to me. We can call these hearings, which get things done. Okay, so that's a separate issue about what the resources he has.
What are you saying?
The question, of course, Brian, is can you trust the security team? Prosecutors say, A, they have the connections to him, but B, even if they didn't, he has a way to compromise people. If he's in prison, if he's in jail right now at the MDC and he's using inmates' PAC numbers to make phone calls,
yeah,
that's the question. Can we?
Yeah, they're gonna look at all that. Yeah. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was trying to get a three-way call because his PIN number didn't go through. That was just me trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Yes. But it might not have went like that. He might have been using calls so he could talk freely on somebody else's PIN number. I mean, it could be like that.
Somebody that when the judge hears
he could pay the security team. Hey, yeah.
This is somebody who's not going to risk their reputation for a payday. And so I would expect that if the judge does release him, he's going to want to see that. He's not going to want just somebody on this guy's payroll to be overseeing him. During these 9 months. I can assure you. So
I can agree with that. Judge ain't gonna want somebody on his payroll overseeing him. The judge is gonna want to have somebody that is regulated through the federal system.
If they've already provided a team, they'll get a better team. If that's an issue with the judge.
Let me ask you this, Brian.
Jesse.
I'll ask you both this because this is a question that we got from one of our YouTubers, Floss Daily. Who pays the security company? If Diddy's paying it, is that a conflict? I'll allow either one of you to address that. If Bradford, you want to address that?
Sure, because I was going to add in, it's an absolutely great question. And what I do is to kind of take out the stench of any kind of impropriety that you think could go on. I figure out, okay, if it's 24-hour security for 8 months, it's going to be 250,000, 350,000, whatever it's going to be.
Something heavy and something that he can afford. He can afford that.
That we put that money in my trust account, and that or a company is hired to pay them separately from just the defendant. So they're not relying on the defendant to get a paycheck. It kind of takes that sting.
This is why it's important, though. Us as people, you got to be humble. You got to be humble, man. When you get cocky, these things happen.
That kind of thing. But you can take out one of the links in the chain and say they're going to be getting their paycheck from either ADP or they're going to get the paycheck from my law firm, but they're not going to be relying on the defendant to get paid, and they can't be threatened like, hey, you're not getting a paycheck unless you let me use your phone. A lot of times that also helps in these situations.
Yeah, Diddy better make sure if he do get a bail, he don't play with them people because everybody's already looking at him like he's guilty. That's just going to enhance it.
I think it takes out one of those links, and it also benefits the court's decision. It eases their mind on that issue.
Brian, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that, but we also have another update from court.
They got an update.
Says, I have a whole presentation ready about the tape, but if you've got enough, I can save everyone 15 minutes. The judge says, I have reviewed it. Who is here from pretrial services? Pretrial services comes forward and says, we maintain conditions are insufficient. The judge says, have there been other cases with private guards? Pretrial services says, not that I'm aware.
The judge is considering now.
Happens all the time.
The judge is considering now.
Great job, but they're a government entity. And
Pretrial services.
The default position always for pretrial is going to be detain. It's easier for them to do that. This judge knows that. One of the other things.
Yeah, they gonna say detain.
I wonder if the government didn't do themselves a disservice by this untimely search of the cell.
Yeah.
Yes.
They shook his cell down.
They jumped the gun.
Looked at privileged materials. That's a no-no. And
yes.
I think this judge was all too pleased with it. And
yes.
I think he started doing the math in this case and started thinking to himself, it may be easier for everybody, including the government,
yeah,
prison officials, if we let this guy pay a lot of money for a private
yeah.
firm to keep him
yeah.
from fleeing, and we'll get this case tried in a timely fashion. I won't be running into court every week or two with a complaint about discovery.
Yeah.
Get his computer. We've got so many terabytes to go over.
The judge is considering, man.
It puts so many issues into a case that can be.
The judge is considering the pretrial bail.
Agreeing to the bail package. So it was just
judge asking questions like that, asking about the pretrial detention to the pretrial people.
First of all,
you already know he considering.
I've had cases in New York where we've recommended private security and got granted private security, and around the country.
Yeah,
when you look at these
but this is what I say though. I say they should let the man go on bail, put the stipulations in place, and if he violates, then send him to jail. Come on, man, he deserve a fair due process. But some people, they just look at if you charged with a crime, you should just be in jail. Nah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
Number one takeaway that Brian is so right on is that this searching of his jail cell was so very stupid by the government, and they just can't help themselves. Like it's really sometimes. They can't help themselves, even when they
it was stupid.
That they feel are good.
It was stupid.
More.
Yes.
Well, just to be fair,
greed.
They said the sweep of the MDC was it was comprehensive. It wasn't just
greed. You hear me? That's all greed, man. They feel that they got a strong case. Why run into his cell to mess with his paperwork? Come on, man.
Listen,
come on, man.
I think that this was. I think he was a target. I find it very hard to believe that it wasn't. You had a specialist that was there that normally is not there. He's taking pictures of items that have
murder, no bail.
With what
yeah,
for, phones,
I already know about that. Murder, no bail.
Very hard to believe, and it just is shocking sometimes when you look at the government when they have so much power. They have so many assets that they can use to obtain guilty verdicts.
Crazy.
More.
Yes.
They always want
yes.
More. And in this case, I think this bit them in the behind.
I think so too.
The only reason
I think it bit them in the behind. I ain't gonna lie. I think it bit them in the behind.
So reasonable. The only reason that this judge has considered some of these arguments, I think, and they're not falling on deaf ears, is partly because of the prosecution's
raid of the cell.
That this was just. This was something that was going to happen, and we didn't mean to get his notes.
Nah,
we had his notes.
They tried to play that dummy move. Oh, we didn't know.
Excuse in the book.
Nah.
Once you taint a case with something like that, it's very hard to regain a judge's trust, and I think that's why.
That's major. That's major.
This guy who got
it's major.
CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. I just think. A lot of things came together for Sean Combs to give him this opportunity.
Yes.
This is his best shot.
Yes. I think that too. I think a lot of things came.
Jumped in and said, consider witness one a participant in multiple freak-offs. Defendant continued to contact witness one after counsel was retained. The Instagram post was planned for a week using Contact Me ASAP and other inmates' codes. Really, really interesting there about that, basically suggesting that Sean Combs is engaging in obstruction. I wanted to ask you, we have a question from one of our viewers that I think is fascinating. And Brian, I'll throw
Let's
it
see
to
what
you.
they say from the viewer.
Are there any additional bail conditions the judge could impose on Sean Combs? Could the judge place Sean Combs under the supervision of the Federal Probation Office?
You know, I have never seen that being done. I mean, anything that the probation office could do would pale in comparison to what the defense has already submitted. You put somebody on a bracelet. I mean, they don't have the resources to have 24/7 guards in the U.S. probation department. More importantly, that's not their role. So, fair question. Why not have the feds protect him and police him while he's out? It's not the way the system works. And more importantly, I think to all of this is, there has to be an ability for somebody to defend themselves. And
yes. Like, for real, man. That's just not fair that they don't let people defend themselves because they feel that they're guilty.
He is looking for help. He is looking to try to line up witnesses, to marshal a defense, to reach out to allies, to get friends.
But it's okay for the victim's lawyer to reach out to different people and tell them, if you don't take this settlement, we're going to put your name out there. Now let's be real and pay attention to that situation.
I don't know what this judge is going to do, but I would tell you, constitutionally and legally, the easy thing to do would be to allow this bail package to be put in place.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that could happen for the defendant would be if he spit in the face of the court once the court gave this to him.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said that. If he gets out there and violated, we'll lock him up. But that would be the worst thing to do, to get out there and play with them people like they won't send you to jail. For real. He said, those ankle monitors sucks. I heard they don't report until 2 days after you cut them off. Nah, I don't think so. I think them joints go off ASAP. They got them joints now that they talk to you. I done seen people have the ankle monitors on that talk to them, where the probation officer can call them through the monitor. I'm like, what? Yeah. Them ankle monitors is hyped up now.
It's my birthday. This is in regards, presumably, to that whole social media campaign about surrounding his birthday and the birthday video. So the idea would be he just didn't care. He violated the BOP rules. The judge said, Ms. Shapiro said sharing codes is common with other inmates, and the conduct was covered by the First Amendment. The prosecutor says, the Bureau of Prisons handbook prohibits this. So it becomes a question, the content of what he was doing, Bradford, versus did he just straight up break the rules? And if he just straight up broke the rules, is that a concern for why he shouldn't be granted bail?
So the rules that he broke are broken on the daily basis.
Yes.
It's
yes.
So idiotic.
Yes.
When
listen, I'm all right with this guy. This guy right here, I am okay with him. That other guy was biased.
Broke the rules. I don't even know how.
Come on, man.
I'm sure Brian has been through the same thing. I don't know how
Come
many
on,
times
man.
our clients call us with three-way calls
Yeah.
and
Come on.
someone else's PIN.
Yeah.
It's not that they want to discuss anything. It's all attorney-client privilege when they call us, unless
Yeah.
it's a three-way call and there's someone else on the line, then it's not.
Come on, man.
And I always let my clients know that.
Pay attention to this, yo. This is crazy.
They'll use other people's pins for different reasons. Like even when they call me from a different pin, it's because they feel like the government's still spying on a discussion between them and their lawyer, and they could be right. It's
No, they are right. Ho, they are right. They are right. Ain't no could be. They are right.
They're married and they want to call their girlfriend, so they use one of the other guy's PIN numbers. It's so commonly done that I don't even consider it a flagrant violation of the rules. I don't even know if they give shots, and what a shot is they give them some sort of a warning or some sort of pink slip for using someone else's. I don't even know if they do that anymore because they're more concerned with the drugs and the cell phones and things that are snuck into the jail. This is such a minor.
Did he talk about something on the phone that could have
unless they can really tie it up
be used against him in his case? Come on, man. That's the thing, man. That's what I'm talking about.
The judge has real life experience, which I'm sure this judge does.
Yeah.
He's going to look at that as
got some good arguments, man.
The jail rules, and I don't think that shows that he's going to flagrantly do things if he's let out. I just don't think that's a good argument.
Well, here's the question. This is a question from Jasmine Milan on YouTube. I'll throw it to you, Brian. Couldn't he just have his family members do all the things that he isn't allowed to do? That would be the question in terms of if he's out.
If he's out. Yeah, I mean, I think we end up chasing our tails with some of the issues here. I mean,
Crazy.
if he's out, he's going to do everything he can to defend himself. If he's in, he's going to do everything he can to defend himself.
Right. Like,
If
be
he's
honest.
in, he's got to jump through all these hoops to have contact with the people that are going to do everything they can for him.
And that's not fair, man.
Remove the hoops. You know,
That's not
I
fair.
got it right. I think I got
That's not fair, man.
calls during this session, for God's sake. It's happening. You know, there were probably 20 of them from this detention center while this was happening. It happens every day.
Unfortunately,
And it goes back to
I
that-
think
that
since
federal
Abercrombie and Fitch
thing.
got out,
You know, this judge
he
seems
should
like
be
a
out
really
with his
brilliant guy.
probation.
The
Yeah,
headaches
on pretrial
are all
release.
driven by the
It's,
fact
it's really not
that
probation.
the
It's called
particular
pretrial release. It's like probation, but the form is pretrial release. That's what they were saying that people were in the court that they asked about the pretrial release and how they felt.
Headaches that inure to the defendant in terms of constitutional protections go away.
Yeah.
All of the headaches for the court in policing this go away.
Yeah.
They become somebody else's problem, and know well that if there's one issue, somebody goes sideways a little bit, somebody makes a phone call somewhere.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
detained within 5 minutes of that incident. So
Right.
the easy thing to do here, and I've been kind of, saying this for a month, is to let a guy have a $50 million bail package.
I'm going to give you
Yeah,
a question.
that's what I'm agreeing
You know
with.
what? You're right. We've been
If he messes up,
drum a little bit.
violate the
Another
pretrial
question.
release and send him to jail.
Let me just give everybody an
But
update about what's happening in court.
he deserves to be able to.
Prosecutor says defendant has used at least 8 inmates' codes. He's bought them. The judge says they say Contact Me ASAP operates through TrueLinks, the trust fund limited inmate computer system. The prosecutor says it's not permitted. In the Jeffries case, one is detained, and the judge said that's a foreign national. Okay, so making a little distinctions here. But I do have a different question for you, Brian, if I can find it, if I didn't lose it. This is from Latoya on YouTube. If he is convicted, Brian, and sentenced to prison, what happens with the civil lawsuits?
They still gonna go after
the
him.
Civil lawsuits may all at some point be indefensible. Once he's convicted, I again, making sure all those civil lawsuits have some relationship to the charges here. To the extent they do, they become indefensible. There'll be a conviction. That conviction will be
Used
part and
against him.
parcel of the evidence. in the
Yeah,
civil case.
they gonna use that against him. We know
He'd
that.
have to be deposed. If he was deposed,
Yeah.
the case would appeal. He'd have to assert the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment is an admission in a civil case. Those cases, if they are related to this event and he is convicted, become indefensible.
All right, we have another other update.
They got another update.
Prosecutor says this is more similar to the cases where detention was ordered, talking about R. Kelly, Keith Raniere, Larry Ray. Bradford, if you're sitting in that courtroom and you're representing Sean Combs and the prosecution mentions these other people, R. Kelly was charged with sex trafficking and racketeering. How do you distinguish Sean Combs from those cases?
Well, the funny thing is, and it's not that funny, is that
Crazy.
Different areas have different issues with bond and how bond packages are done. In the R. Kelly case, I don't think number one is they came up with $50 million.
Not at all.
24-hour security. They didn't have electronic monitor, taking away his cell phones, his computers, etc. They didn't have any of that. So if you want to compare apples to apples, I think, and my opinion, is that the best case scenario is that Abercrombie and Fitch CEO. I keep going back to it. It happened
It's
very
real.
soon in time.
It's real.
It was in an area that is right next to New York City, which is the Eastern District. He was allowed to surrender. He was given a $10 million bond. The guy still, nobody even knows. If I was in a room with the CEO,
You wouldn't even know what he looked like.
Fitch, I wouldn't know him from anyone. Right?
You wouldn't
If
even
I'm
know
in a
what he
room with
looked
Sean
like.
Combs, I'm going to recognize him right away. So it's a little bit of a different situation. The CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch can disappear to Morocco.
Yes.
No one's going to recognize the guy.
Yo, I like this guy. I like this guy. He is being so honest, transparent.
And the common
I like this guy.
The CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch is, I would argue that Sean Combs is known pretty much worldwide, especially even at this point. And
Right.
that,
Where he can't run because everybody knows who he is.
Really distinguishing him from the rest of these individuals. And we always say like, hey, money does this or money does that. And it's true. Someone without substance might not be getting a bond on this case. But that's the whole point of bond, is that it shows your commitment to appear in court, to not violate the rules, to do these certain things. So as you have more money, obviously the bond is higher in amount to make that more of a damaging thing. Like, someone worth $100 million, if I put up 50, that's really
plastic surgery.
If someone was $100 and they put up 50.
Yeah,
so
but
the thing is that
he ain't gonna be able to get to the plastic surgeon. They're gonna have people watching, and they're gonna say if a plastic surgeon's coming in here. I don't think that gonna happen.
And the fact, I can't get beyond the fact that he just stuck around. He didn't go anywhere. Not that he could have. I'm sure the feds had their eyes on him 24/7 before they filed charges. But he stuck around. He didn't go anywhere. He informed them of where he was flying, when he was flying, where he was going, when he was going, during that whole period of time. And then when he knows that he's going to be arrested,
we got to take this in consideration. We got to take this in consideration, man.
Like they would allow anyone.
He's
there to surrender. Instead of allowing him to surrender, which a judge would have looked upon that.
Let's be real.
And said, "Oh, he surrendered himself."
Yes.
They go to his hotel and they pick him up at 9:00.
And you know why they did that? So it can make it look like he didn't turn himself in.
Is because they knew that Sean Combs was trying to organize this PR thing and was trying to put on a good show in terms of, hey, listen, mea culpa.
Yeah.
I didn't mean anything on this video, and I'm going to rehab, and all these things that are good for his case.
Yeah.
They got, I think, frustrated that the perception was starting to sway a little bit.
Yes.
And then
yes.
the Cassie tape came out, and perception kind of went down the toilet, because once you see it on video, it's very difficult to then you see all your friends kind of abandon you.
Yeah.
So, it just frustrates me when you got a guy that is willing to do all these things, and you still don't want to agree to a bond.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Keeping you guys
I agree.
we're going to take a break. Before we do, I want to get some final thoughts, but I want to give you some.
I'm about to start covering the Kohlberger case.
The judge just said
when it starts, when the trial starts, I am going to cover it.
Monday at noon about what type of communications Mr. Combs may engage in. Monday at noon. So that's interesting to think about. What is he mean? He's going to be out or he's not going to be out? But his lawyer, Combs' lawyer, Tony Rico, said, we have to email for a week to get him a file folder. Then he said his adult children are willing to obey. He's not a lawless person. We spent hours at the MDC. Mr. Combs was writing down.
No, I'm close, bro. I'm close, though.
DOJ is responsible for the MDC. Those phone calls from me all the time, and I hang up. Just your thoughts on what we're hearing here.
I go back to it. I think this judge is really giving serious consideration to.
Oh yeah, Virginia Beach is nice.
And trying to figure out a way.
Yeah, it's nice in Virginia Beach.
Where the government's concerns are alleviated. To stop.
I definitely
to prevent the wrong kind
been there a
of
few
cases.
times. I like it. It's nice.
A lot of the listeners that have asked questions are seeing justice play out here, and
we on the verge. Yes, I am Diva. We gonna see.
That would listen to it.
They're in there now negotiating, the prosecutors and the defense, and we just been covering it. And Diddy has a shot. I ain't gonna lie, he has a big shot at getting out. They argued a lot of good points.
So speaking of,
and we gonna see. They argued a lot of good points.
Again, his attorney says he has access to cell phones in the MDC, but not under our conditions. He fights, he kicks, he makes phone calls. This can be addressed. Thank you. Judge says we're going to get.
Yeah, he deserves a fair shot, though, like anybody else. So they deserve to get this man a bail. If he violates the bail, lock him up.
Don't just make decisions off cuff, right? They go back to their chambers. They think about it. They have very, very smart clerks that are.
Okay, so the judge is, I guess, in chambers checking out what he going to do.
And judges sometimes have gut feelings when they've been on the bench for a long time, and lawyers too. You know, we've been doing this for a long time, and you have a gut feeling what's right and wrong, and then you got to find the case that tells you that you're right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that it's smart. I think that smart judges put out smart orders because they know they may be appealed, or they know
Yes.
it's going to be.
He needs to be held accountable.
And
And listen,
that's
I
just what
agree.
they do.
Anybody
So
needs
I'm
to
not
be held
shocked that he
accountable
didn't make
if
a
they're
ruling,
wrong, but you
from
still
just as Brian
deserve a
said
fair
very
due
early on,
process.
he wouldn't be
That's
surprised
where I'm at,
either,
Diva. You hear me?
That the judge is going to take some time.
The
to
fair
written,
due process.
order, because that's
If
what
you
good
are
judges
wrong,
do. Good
you
judges
need to
do
be held
written
accountable.
orders, they
You
don't
need to
shoot
face the
shit,
music.
and they don't automatically
But
say one thing or the
we
other.
all
You think about it,
deserve
it's
a
fun.
fair trial.
And I don't
And that's
know
what I'm
how
saying.
many
I
times
don't
I've been
agree
in a
with
case
picking
where I'm feeling
and
like, oh,
choosing
man, this judge is,
who
I
you
feel
should
like it's
treat
ruling
fairly.
against me.
Everybody
Say,
should
hey,
be treated
listen, I'm gonna
fairly.
get
That's
a
just my
report
opinion there,
out,
Diva.
by the end of the week, and then they go back, they read the case law again, they find new case law, they find all kinds of different things, and then they rule in my favor maybe for a completely different reason.
And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button,
hearing.
make sure you hit that
That's what
subscribe
really
button, man. We just hit
differentiates
3K
great
subscribers, man. I
judges
really
from
appreciate y'all.
just guys that are that have been on the bench for maybe 30 or 40 years, and they're kind of going through the motions, and they know what to deny and what to grant and why to deny it, and they just kind of they're on autopilot. Like I said, when you get a judge that is fairly new, it's usually very refreshing, their take on certain issues.
I agree. This is a judge that's very refreshing. I think he's really carefully considering both arguments. As you said, right now the latest update is that he wants those letters Monday. We'll make a decision next week. This could possibly be Sean Combs' last weekend behind bars. We will see.
Okay, they pushed it back to next week to make the decision, y'all. I just want to let y'all know that. So they're going to make a decision next week. And the judge is going to consider and weigh on this situation. And, like he said, he's going to find some case law to represent whatever decision he made.
So let me just leave
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, you guys really should.
Yeah.
It's two brilliant minds.
I have long admired Brian's work.
Yeah.
And, it's always great to be on with individuals that have been in the trenches, that have actually tried cases, that have been doing this for a long time, because warriors generally think alike, and it's always good to be on with someone like Brian.
That's
High
great.
compliment coming from you, my friend.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. We're going to take a.
Hey, man, listen. I appreciate y'all for tuning in with your boy, man. And we growing. And we going to do a lot more streaming. So I really appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, man. It's your boy DZ. We keep it real. And we got a lot of motivational shorts, letting you know that watch who you're around. Pay attention to your surroundings. Everybody's not for you. And we can avoid these situations if we don't put ourselves in these situations. Did he put himself in this situation? This is something that he has to deal with. We just going to talk about it. That's it. I appreciate y'all, man. It's your boy DZ. It's not about the setback. It's about the get back. Nah.